Welcome, misfits, to this episode of Call Me Skeptical, the Abrahamic God. Yep.
The big man.
The big G. In fact, if we call him the lower G and it has to be him, he gets upset. But yes.
It certainly does.
Won't you join James W. and myself as we get ready for a show 6,000 to 10,000 years in the making, apparently. Hello, everyone, and welcome out on the intertubes for joining us on this Call Me Skeptical, the Abrahamic God. And let me tell you, this one seems to be on billions of people's minds, and yet, James, how big is our evidence been for the Abrahamic God?
15 feet.
15 feet, yes. But
15 feet of evidence.
We seem to be able to fit ourselves in there, but not a lot of evidence inside of it. But yes, welcome, everyone. If you're feeling fancy, please don't forget to like on the YouTubes. They have that thumb button. Oh my God, it's so pretty.
That thing.
And when you hit it, even if you hit the downvote, though we actually prefer the upvote, we hope you're enjoying your time here. It sends it out on the algorithm. Also follow on twitch.tv/Amy Newman Skeptic. We're past 100. Woo! Also, thank you, Beamsy.
Thanks, Beamsy.
Sending so much love. Not only do I have flair, but I want even more emojis, and I think I have a poll that is going to be coming because I want more. A poll, you say? Yeah. Want a whole bunch of more interactive. Beamsy says, yes. You always prefer it going down. That's right, baby. Oh, boom. I saw Beamsy out there on the politics server having fun. And what is up? That's right, Muslim apologists. Welcome. We should start saying hi to everybody. Hello, Rejos.
Hey, Rejos.
What is up, Sea Science and Sage Ohio and Nathiest? Good morning, good night, good day. Depending on wherever you are. What's up, into Rubiks? What's up, Stilet?
Rubiks.
What is up, the cat down the road? And what is up, everybody? In a second, we're going to be opening it up to calls.
Oh, yeah.
We just want people who disagree with us. We're going to do the quick version. I'm promising myself this time. The quick version of the shout-outs, because this is the call-in show. And James and myself have learned that the people who disagree with us, they leave fast. If you agree with us and you're skeptic and sane and rational,
we'll sit back there for hours.
Hours, just the popcorn. And yet, so Call Me Skeptical is trying to say we're specifically looking for views that don't agree with our own. So if you fit the bill, then the link to join the show will soon head into chat and on screen. We also love people who do agree with us, atheists, skeptics, agnostics, science-minded people. Though if you think the world is 6,000 years old, that evolution is a hoax, and that the world is flat. Oh, then OG Willikers, you should call us right away.
If you believe all three, probably a young Earth creationist.
James, 60%
Hot and
of
heavy,
the problem
sea science.
is flat and young Earth. It just arguing about the shape and the age of the Earth. It makes no sense except in the context of a book said a thing.
Right.
What a book saying a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm debating interacting with a creationist or evolution skeptic in a channel recently, and I don't think a lot of it is necessarily intelligence, although some of it is. But I feel like a lot of these hardcore evolution, like they have emotional reasons why they have to reject evolution. It's like an emotional reaction to it. It's
there's no way that
intellectual exercise.
Specific creationists that we interact with, they have to have day jobs, like, and families, and walk and chew bubble gum, and so they can't be dumb. It is that they actually separate their brains and go, you know what? Right here, doing the science, I have to. And
reality, rationalism.
Reality, exactly. But then once we get to like the bigger questions of life, I can come here, I can use all the technology that I got from the science, and then reject all the science.
Basically, yeah.
But we're about to bring into calls. And so with that, I am going to give the shout outs while I send the linkage into the screenage.
Squarely there, where something Amy usually gets paid to do, but evolution does it for free.
Many of them play natural selection as it is. Herman Cain taught us about natural selection. Unfortunately.
Is 999 tax plan. A 999 plan. Remember that from 2012?
He was just silly. A bunch of them. That was during the same time as what the hell was her?
No.
The Alaska lady.
Sarah Palin.
Sarah Palin, thank you. Just a bunch of very sane people is what I'm trying to say. Oh, evangelicals. But yes, I'm going to put it on the screen. And I'm going to do shout-outs while we do so. But you can call in time shout-outs. Oh, this is just going to be a list. Because you know what? I'll do this too. We'll do this too. And but also
she's got the ticker going.
Got the ticker. But I also have this, which is what you should all be doing. Right there, baby.
I mean, sea science, a single tooth is a lot more evidence than we have for your God. So, I mean...
Yeah, give us a tooth of your deity.
I mean, although evolution really doesn't make models based on one tooth, really. That really only happened a couple times, and science ended up rejecting it anyway. So, thanks for playing, though.
Yeah, we have millions of fossils, and generally we have a range. And I already see, so we're going to do our quick range. So we have full skeletons for some.
Satan himself
all the way down
folks.
To a medium amount of bones, all the way down to where you only have one or two. Anyway, there's multiple ways where you can support the show. You can become a channel member by hitting our join button right there and getting our evolving badge system, triggering the creationists. But you can also be a Twitch follower, again at twitch.tv/Amy Newman Skeptic, and get some flair, as well as becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/Amy Newman, which is one of the best ways to help us become. I'll send it into chat and we'll do the shout outs because we already have a new best friend with us about to join us. Give me clickety clack. And that is why you get a mechanical keyboard. Anyway, shout outs. We love you all.
Thanks, guys.
To Chris Disciple.
Chris.
Dale Pastel.
Dale. Thanks, Dale.
James Wolfe.
James Wolfe.
Rachel Holen.
Thanks so much, Rachel.
Senator Cato.
Senator Cato.
davegar.
Davegar, longtime supporter. Thanks, Dave.
Emily.
Thanks, Emily.
Woo. Ian Davenport.
Ian.
We do have
Lieutenant
to do
Lieutenant on deck.
Yes, we are now on the girl deck. Well, rather, these are the captains of the girl deck. The girl deck is actually 15 feet long. Can house many. Anyway, Ian Davenport.
Ian.
Matt Deig.
Thanks, Matt.
And Regos.
Regos.
Once again, Ian Davenport, Matt Deig, and Regos. And all right, thank you to all of our supporters,
Thanks,
all
everybody.
of our lovers. Sending love right back to you. But we're going to get into it because we already have.
She's going to whip it out now. You guys
That's right.
You guys are in trouble. Hey,
what is up, Titan Uranus and Loki Fur and Rachel Holen? And all right, Rubiks is going to be sitting back here popcorn with us because we got Sea Science coming on.
Because we're going hot and heavy into Sea Science film.
It is time. We are calling us skeptical. The Abrahamic God? Dun, dun, dun. What is up, Sea Science?
Our arch nemesis.
Amy, James, what's going on tonight? How you doing?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
Doing all right.
I've been pretty decent lately, actually. Yeah. I want to holler at some of my people in the chat real quick. I got Base Theory, Titan Uranus. That's about it. No, wait. And Tsunami, yeah, I got Tsunami
What's up,
there.
Based in Tsunami?
Nathius, Beamsy. Beamsy's in the chat.
I'm sure she'll excuse you, though.
Well, hey,
Beamsy, your friend Beamsy.
My best friend, Beamsy.
Do you have a debate coming up? Am I hearing that right?
I guess so. Did you already hear about that? How'd you hear about that already? That just happened like the other day, like a week ago.
In our chat.
Who told you?
Whoever typed it in the chat. Was that Base Theory?
Listen, I invited all my friends. I told everybody about it too. Listen. No, I went online. I told people at my What?
You debated?
Am I ready?
You debating?
I'm debating Grayson, yeah. I think Grayson's in the chat too somewhere.
Well, no.
Maybe.
You're not ready, but you're going to do it anyway. And it'll be a thing of beauty for us to watch. But
well, that's cheeky, James.
Oh, what you know what you're going to get coming on to here. You know where you're at.
What you're going to get. Whoa! Oh my goodness. James, listen, there's no real evidence for evolution. I mean, the whole idea of all this life coming from a single-celled organism, a single-celled organism, a long time ago, set up by some unfounded, unnameable seeming natural
in a galaxy
process
right here
that's held in some abiogenesis. I don't even know if we can call it a theory. Can we call it a theory? Is abiogenesis
is more of a hypothesis, but evolution is a theory.
Yes, what James just said.
Now, It seems to me that a lot of the time evolutionists fail to differentiate between evolution and mutation over time, which would be the microevolution of the 90s
Can
and
I
80s
just
that we've kind of steered away from.
Kind of.
can I just pause for a second? Because I realized
I'll stop steel manning you.
No, this is what happened when I went in with the Muslims. It's like evolution. And I'd be willing to talk about evolution, but I really do want to also, there's zero good evidence for the Abrahamic God. And so this could be the day that we find it. I feel like this is going to be with our conversation, C Science.
It could be.
So I'd be willing to talk about,
Amy, I think I missed the title of your video tonight. I just saw that your guys' face and I clicked right away. What was the question? Y'all just
got a little
had
excited
me come
when he
on
saw you, Amy.
Both of you, James and Amy, in the same chat. Hold me back. Come on.
And I love evolution. I love biology.
I can tell that you know a lot about it. Yeah.
It grows.
Hey man, James got sassy when I first got. I'll shut it off. I'm sorry, Amy. I'll shut it off. James got at me at first when I got.
She can handle anything you got.
She can handle it.
She can handle it.
Yeah. Hey.
Hey,
oh man, you might be surprised.
Hey,
now. Let's get into it. Who else is here tonight? What's up? We'll waste all their time just talking about things you believe in, but
Hey, I like talking about things I believe in. What about you, C Science? What made
I will be right back. I actually just got an alert. I'll be right back.
It's okay. It does happen.
Jesus alert.
Jesus alert. The Jesus star. Oh my God, it's going on. Hey, babe.
Like Robert Sadar, but with a small face.
And Pragmatic Crystal. And everybody out there. To do empathy, respect. What is up? I have to upload the 2 streams that I have done with you. But yeah, I guess we'll just get evolution out of the way while he's gone, which is the populations of genes mutate over time, and the environment naturally selects them.
Well, this is what I try to explain to people. I was trying the other day to a gentleman in a message board, well, not a message, in the comments section, trying to help him understand that evolution, it's a force of nature. It's not just it doesn't apply to just biology. It applies to things like language, how small, very tiny, imperceptible changes in the short term add up to very large changes in the long term over time. It's just what happens. It's a law of the universe almost. And at no point is there a large change in the short-term scale. It never happens. You'll never see it. If you're looking for small changes day to day, you're never going to see it. You only really see them when you look at the big
They believe in
picture.
Pokemon evolution. They believe that evolutionists want like an organism to become a different organism in a single life cycle, which only happens in a film.
Or
are you guys attempting to steel man? Wait, hang on now. Are you guys attempting to steel man the argument that creationists have when they steel man evolution?
Yes, that is the steel man of the creationist argument.
I know. I mean, I know it sounds
you are
like
the
a
steel
toddler
man.
whining.
You are the steel
whining
man.
And throwing food all around. But I mean,
listen. You know what occurs
what we
to
have
me.
To work with.
You know what occurs to me though, James, is that evolutionists seem to believe that some hypothetical fusion of chromosomes created mankind. Like it created mankind, right?
Talk about
it was
chromosome
the fusion
2?
of the chromosome.
The fusion?
Yeah, chromosome 2, right? So the chromosome 2 fusion is what made us
Between
bipedal.
other apes.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
I don't
So
know
somewhere
about
along
that.
the line there was a chromosomal fusion, right? That created mankind's bipedalism.
I don't know if it was bipedalism before or after that fusion.
Bipedalism. No,
Was
this is
that in a
just
single
hallmark.
generation, or was that a
That's not-
multi-generational thing? Like do chromosomal fusions happen in a single generation, or is that over multiple generations?
Their legs, our legs are just different. That has nothing to do with.
No, it didn't happen in a single generation.
Oh, okay. So then you must be aware of other, chromosomal fusion occurrences that have happened in multiple generations instead of a single generation. Because all the occurrences
They know what
of
they know
chromosomal
how it
fusion.
happens.
Hang on now. All the examples of chromosomal fusion that I can find examples of happen in a single generation. So do you believe that humans were created from a chromosomal fusion in a single generation, and that generation was passed on to all the other generations of that species?
Before you answer that, okay, so we have a slow transition from other ape species. I want to compare it with what I would call the poof model, okay? So get me there. We have God, we have a human. Get me there in between. Like, God.
Right, so you believe that this gene fusion happened in multiple generations?
Please answer the question. We have
was your
our
question?
model.
Okay,
we have God, and then we have a human. How did God do it? I want to compare our two models. We have where the chromosome fused, and then we have your model. How do you get there? After a slow occurrence, after billions of years, coming from not only sapiens, but then mammals, but then lizard, but then backbone fish.
How do
but then
I account for the chromosomal fusion?
No.
How do I account for
you? So remember
the
how I keep on
hypothetical
going
chromosomal
to
fusion?
the steel man of your version. This is why you guys don't defend it. This is the steel man of your version. God spoke it, and it just kind of was. That's your whole model.
Yeah, no, that's a straw man, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
It's because you are completely overlooking the fact that it takes an intelligent mind to create information. That's the creationist argument.
Well, then I'm so sorry. Tell me the process. How did God make a human?
Well, both processes
She's
from
ready to
both
take
philosophies
notes.
are
She's
unaccountable.
ready.
James, can I answer a question just once
I'll
on this
mute
channel?
myself.
You absolutely can.
Okay.
Just once.
So creationists understand what the evolutionists do not understand, and that's that information takes a creative and intelligent mind. So if you find information out in this reality, you should assume that it came from an intelligence.
Once again, I asked you for a process. We have a human. We have God.
Right, but you're asking for something that you don't have yourself. You don't have a process yourself. No, you don't. Abiogenesis has no working device within it. It has no nameable natural process that creates information from non-information.
So let me give you my model, okay? Here's my model. It goes human, other apes, and then it goes old world, like with monkeys, and then it goes to mammals, and then it goes to lizards. It then goes to fish, very specifically with backbones we don't share with cartilage fish like sharks. And then we keep on going back to multicellular life. It breaks off with fungi and with plants, and then it gets back down to singular cellular life, where most of it was interacting. What still most of life is, if you add it up by biosphere, is mostly single cellular life, and that's what it's been for the 2 billion plus years until the multicellular came along. And then now we're talking sort of abiogenesis and trying to figure out if it is an RNA
big guy
hypothesis or what it is. So that's our
It was
model.
a rough approximation.
That's our process.
Oh,
What's your process?
Right. Do you choose virus or do you choose like a single-celled organism?
No. You don't have to answer a question. What is your model?
My model is that an intelligent being created the life because it's necessary for an intelligent mind to create information. What you find within the genome of all living forms is this information, this 4-part code.
You find
made up of
nucleotides.
Made up of nucleotides. These chemicals, these amino acids that you think are, like, first of all, created by whatever force that you can't decide upon. You all have your different stories for whatever made these amino acids or how they got here. You know, there's panspermia. There's a bunch of different theories for how they got here. Now, these are natural occurring things. They've proven that, you know, electricity can lead to amino acids. But what they haven't accounted for is how these amino acids arrange themselves into the basic molecules of life, which would be the genes, the proteins, the nucleic acids that make up your DNA. They have no idea how that they fashion themselves in such a systematic order where these non-living chemicals became living forms. You have no idea, but you're like, oh, abiogenesis proves all that. Well, no, it doesn't, because it doesn't hold it. Hang on, it doesn't hold a device. We don't know all the steps that accounts for that information. It just doesn't.
You don't know any of the steps. You don't have anything. We have at least.
I do have it. I just explained it all to you. You just denied it and deflected.
Your God did it with magic.
That's all you have is deflection.
I mean, that's not an explanation. You can.
All you have is deflection. You guys have no explanation either.
All I pointed out for anything.
It is trying to be skeptical of abiogenesis while refusing to ever offer a model.
Okay, now listen, I'm not trying to be skeptical. I'm highly skeptical of abiogenesis.
Yeah,
it's complete bullshit. There's no mechanism for it to occur.
But we have no mechanism for God to create humans.
Right, but I'm saying you're lacking the same mechanism that we are. So like you guys criticizing us is pretty presumptuous and pretty, it's like, listen, guys, listen. You're like, well, you don't know the answer. I wonder if they have it. Oh, you don't have it either? Gotcha. That's stupid. That's really stupid.
But you agree?
It's true. It's true.
You agree?
You can't agree with the truth. But that's fine.
You agree. You're saying we have nothing, and you're saying you have nothing, right?
Well, we don't have that process because we didn't see God do it.
Come on, you just were saying we both have nothing. You can see the
effects of the wind. You can see the effects of it. But you know what? It's like, so I'm glad you agree that you don't have any mechanism that explains it within the abiogenesis
and you don't
theory.
Too? And you don't too.
Well, we don't know how God put it together, no. But you also don't know how the life got arranged. But that's the thing. Your edge of understanding ends at God. You guys never see him because your understanding ends at God.
Because I live in the natural
Creationists have a better understanding of this reality that you can never attain to because your understanding ends at God. Because if there is a creator, if there is a creator of this universe, you will eventually come to that answer. Okay, but the thing is you guys set it up so that when you get to that answer, you just repress it, man, and you deny any evidence of God. That's all you have is your denial and deflection, which is what James has resorted to.
What do you think is the most likely answer to the origin of life will come? Which sounds more reasonable, like a natural, slow process of chemicals going through different processes and chemical reactions that we don't understand right now,
and that is
magic.
That is magic, what you just described as magic, because there is no magical process.
Science is
we just don't understand it. We don't have it. We just don't know it.
How one event happened.
That's magic, man. You're like assuming there is one. You're like instead of seeing that it takes a creator, we
don't have any evidence of a creator. We have never seen.
I know you didn't. Listen, James, you already told me you're an atheist. That means you deny all evidence of a God, as well as an agnostic.
I've never seen any evidence of a God. Please.
No, I know, but you know of evidence for a God, though.
Don't just point to something and assert.
James, we've been over this, mate. We've been over this.
it says it in a book that you know it.
You
and
just
so
point
like
to,
we have
point
to
to
know
reality and say
Now
he's
that
the
is not our
creator,
argument. That's a
therefore,
straw man. Amy,
the
that's a
fact
straw
that
man if
anything
I ever
exists
heard
is
one.
evidence
But
of a creator. That's
you're
all
telling
you guys
us
have.
that we believe in a God. I would actually take the position that I know
No,
the
no, I'm not
Abrahamic
telling you
God
that you
doesn't
believe in a
exist.
God. I'm telling you that if you're an atheist, you're claiming that you do not believe in a God. You do not believe in a God.
That's
If you're
the
a
claim.
self-claimed atheist, that's what you're saying. Do I believe if you really don't believe in a God? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe you're just saying you're atheist.
An
And like
atheist
deep
just
down, you
means
really
that you
do
do
believe
not
in
believe.
God. Maybe you're just in denial and you're living a life of repression. I don't know. You know. And you like push out anything that leads you to God. And every time that you see something that leads to God, you avoid it with all your ability.
Why would we do that? Why would we do that? What
because you're
motivation would we
atheist,
have?
man.
Yeah,
You're
well,
atheist.
we used to not be atheists, so
I could think of several reasons why people
we used
might
to not be
choose.
atheists. We're both not cradle atheists. We were theists at one point.
Right, I know that you've been groomed by society to become atheists. I know that. Yeah, I know that the society and your government
has
all
better
groom you to
stuff
become
than the
atheists. That's
Abrahamic
no
religion.
news, man.
Because most people in
Hey,
society are theists. Did you know that?
Every TV show,
We're not a
okay, yeah,
majority
all right.
yet.
Every science
See
channel
science.
grooms you to
See
believe
science.
in these theories. Don't tell me it's
See
not.
science.
That's how it is.
Where'd you learn your religion from?
Rather, my religion, man, this personal philosophy. I don't even have a religion.
What?
I mean, if you guys don't have a religion, I don't have a religion either.
You're
because
not
you guys
a
have your
Christian?
personal philosophy. I have mine.
You know,
So bong on ya, bong on ya.
I'm sorry.
I don't know what your backgrounds are. Where did you guys come from?
You're not a Christian?
You said that you were a Christian before. What was your denomination?
No, I didn't.
What?
So what it sounds like is you were kind of groomed to be into your religion, doesn't it?
Yeah, but you just literally told me that you changed your mind because you were groomed by society to become atheist. It's so obvious. It's so funny.
You're going to make her start twerking. There,
I like your headphones, though, Amy. Amy, are you hopping mad yet? Get hopping, Amy. Are you hopping mad?
It's not
hop around a little bit. Dance for me, baby.
I feel bad.
Reach through the screen for you. Now listen, guys.
Oh my goodness.
Let's talk turkey now. Let's get down to the real. You have amino acids. They can occur naturally. They even come in on comets. Who knows where they came from? They got here. The fact is, you have no idea how those amino acids arrange themselves in such systematic, elaborate systems that those systems were so finely tuned that they became living forms. You don't have it. Instead, you're like, we just don't know. And if we think about it long enough, maybe we'll think of something. Maybe we'll finally see it happen. If we make it happen in a lab, if we use it in a lab and experiment in a lab long enough, maybe it'll finally happen for us if we program it with computers.
Maybe it will.
It's going to take computers to program it, James. Amy, it's going to take computers.
I mean, you guys have been saying Jesus is coming any day
it.
now. I haven't seen him. So, I mean, maybe tomorrow will be the day he actually comes back.
Yeah. You have your repression. You have your deflection. Listen, man, you already know of evidence for God. All you do is ignore it.
See science.
The fine-tuning argument is plenty good evidence for God.
See science. Did the early church?
Yes, it is. You just deny it. You just said no. Say it's not, and then give me a
not believe that it was end times.
Hey, Amy Newman. Amy Newman, I'm serious. Like, I'm gonna be polite and stuff. Why don't you guys steel man the fine-tuning argument right now? Go.
Steel man the fine-tuning argument.
That's hard because it's pretty.
The complexity of a universe that allows for life can't be any other way.
There's so many different things in the universe that if they were changed even by 1% or less would make life impossible.
I disagree.
All these factors perfectly arranged just so we can be here has to be the result of an intelligent, loving creator God.
And with that, I'm going to read out
Are you done? That was it. I'm sorry. I didn't know that you guys were done steel manning. I thought you guys had more to say because that was okay, but I thought there was going to be like an
super
ending.
Chat, so we're going to
do
that,
ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm going to add in more data. $5 super chat. Thank you so very much from Disciple Day.
Thanks, Disciple Day.
Skeptic, Christian, I just became $5 poorer, and you just became $5 richer.
Thank you, Disciple Day.
Hashtag mind blow. Thank you so much, Disciple Day. Love having you on. I love having you as part of the Skeptic Arena community, and thank you so much for the love and support.
Thank you so much, Disciple Day. And Sumami is absolutely correct. The people did get a good indication that there's no God when he didn't show up to save them in the 1940s when they were being hauled off to concentration camps. He didn't show up then, did he, Amy? No parting the Red Sea, no Moses,
Someone
no
showed up
elaborate
for you,
rescue
didn't they?
plan. He didn't show
Yeah.
up.
I'll tell you what, like the way you guys attack Jews and the anti-Semitics on this channel here, you know, it's pretty funny, isn't it?
That's
But it ain't
not
funny,
attacking
not
Jews,
really.
that's attacking
Hey.
Because it's like
God.
something that's funny, but it's not funny, is it? Because
True.
I mean, I know
I
Amy
will
Newman.
say,
Amy Newman. I'm sorry. Amy
as
Newman,
as an ex-Jew, I feel like it's kind
You-
of my duty to kind of go
That
after
was your
Judaism.
denomination. What
Why, yes, it
denomination
was.
of Judaism were you?
She was Jewish, yes.
I went to a conservative Hebrew school, even though my parents were secular, because my mom said that she just felt like I was being a good Jew.
Okay, cool. See, I didn't know any of your backgrounds. James, you said you were also a Christian. What denomination were you before you converted to claimed atheism?
I went to Lutheran church. I went to a Baptist church, primarily Baptist.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah, I was brought up in a Baptist church too myself. So I'm sure that you got a lot of the same teachings that I got, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
And I didn't agree with a lot of the doctrines in the church as well. So I could see why a lot of people would have problems with them. But you know, the way that you guys like attack creationism is pretty I mean, I don't know what it is. I guess I'm at a loss for words, you know.
Amy,
but that's okay because that's what I'm here for. Because you can attack me.
Violin,
No, listen,
Amy.
guys. I'm a real creationist though, and I'm here for you. You can attack me, baby. Hit it up. Let's go. You just tried to steal man fine tuning. Listen, you just tried to steal man.
Oh, we're so sorry. Oh, we're sorry, God.
James, it does sound like you're crying, dude. It does sound like you're crying. Hey, James, you guys just tried to steal man fine tuning, right? Yeah. All you did was deny it at the end. That's all you got is your denial. You're like, I kind of basically understand it, kind of, but I don't really.
Yeah, you ever heard of a puddle analogy?
I repress it my whole life.
You ever heard of a puddle analogy?
But you know,
there you go.
I didn't really study into it beyond what I took in Sunday school and shit. But you know,
science. Can you
what
steel man evolution?
But no, let's talk about it, guys. Guys, I know there's so many arguments against evolution.
Can you steel man evolution?
Oh man!
Specifically, could he steel man a biogenesis?
Evolutionists believe that a single-celled organism appeared. Hang on, let me. Am I going to be allowed to do it this time? Since there's no one else but me and you and James. Because last time you told me steel man, some jerk just talked in front of me the whole time. Is James the jerk when he's not around or what? Oh, don't take it personal, James.
What?
Oh, don't roll your eyes, dude. Anyway, just listen. All right. So evolutionists believe a long, really long time ago.
Very long and very
about 13.7 billion years ago. Maybe 13.8. We're not sure. But now we're really not sure because now they've seen beyond the threshold of 45 billion year mark that we had seen before with the Webb telescope. So who knows what's real now? And all these calculations are probably wrong. But let me steel man your argument a little bit more. From the beginning, nothing exploded into everything. There was nothing. And then all of a sudden, the energy and the matter all arrived for absolutely free. The biggest free lunch of all reasoning and logic of the universe. Anybody, like people in Greece would have been like, you guys are crazy.
You're not even
what
talking
are you guys
about the right
smoking over there? What ether caves have you been hanging out in where you would come up with an idea?
This is what I'm asking.
Like that. What?
Are you sniffing paint?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, they would have been like, "What ether caves are you guys hanging
just
out in?"
painted
Okay,
his
but I'm
house.
asking you
Yeah.
right now. Are you
Pictures
sniffing?
going
Right, I
through his
know,
head.
and we can be gaslighting each other all night. I love it. I'm a gaslighting level 9 wizard.
But you're not
We
even
can
on the
do it.
right subject. Okay. I'll ask you again, please.
I'm starting with cosmic evolution, and I'm going to work into evolution.
No.
How long you
Okay.
got?
Okay.
I'm
So
going to work into biological
No.
evolution. I'm starting
We're
with
not doing
cosmic.
the Hoven
No.
definition
Well, maybe
right
you
now.
should be more
No.
definitive and ask me a question like what evolution
Okay.
you're talking
Can you
about.
steel man evolution?
Yeah, I can steel man any
Biological.
facet of evolution that you would like.
Steel man
Would you like me to
evolution,
steel man
if you try
biological
to go into
evolution?
Yeah.
Sure,
only
biological
evolution.
evolution.
There's only
Sure.
evolution.
We'll do biological evolution, steel man.
So I guess we're gonna have to go with the $2 super chat. Were you educated on Hoven's DVDs? Thank you for the $2 super chat.
You know what's
from
hilarious?
Praise
I used to think
I am.
that was a picture of Big Mama's mom, but I turned out that that's the real dude. That's a picture of him that he took when he was in college.
Hi.
I'm serious. They dressed him up like that. It's a dude, man. Now, I know it doesn't look like it. It's got makeup on. Amy, if you look real close at the eyebrows, listen, it's a dude. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I own a femboy.
It doesn't matter. But no, I wasn't educated on Hoven
DVDs.
Just
you
wear
sassy
dresses. My big mama's got something coming. She's on my list, man. I don't know. She wants to be
also,
like a she, right?
By the way,
So,
I'm sorry.
she.
It's a Rubiks for staying. They ended up dropping off. I just want to say we'll eventually I will find a way to get your Creation Museum Science Center story on here one way or another.
Oh yeah, we should do
sending love. But yes.
Talk skeptic.
Could you please?
All right. Back to steel manning biological evolution, please. Let's do it right now.
Can I tell you?
Biological evolution.
Well, no. I'm going to freeze frame you. I'm going to freeze frame you,
Okay.
James. I have a politically correct rule, and I'm not going to say what Amy's politically correct rule is. You tell me what is the rule, Amy's rule of political correctness. Where does it hide?
Amy has a thing for 2-word statements. Yeah.
She wants me to steel man
It's
biological
evolution.
In 2 words.
No. I want you to not be politically correct. Stop being PC and just try and steel man evolution.
Thanks, Big Ben.
I am trying, but you guys keep talking over me, and then you pause for Big Mama to talk. But I mean,
because you keep on trying to say other types.
What do I got to do to get my wrench on this channel? It's got to be something special, right?
You just need to answer the question and stop being like a politician or a lawyer or politically correct.
Well, thank you, because all those people are pretty smart, so I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah, they are pretty smart, but they also kind of like rob and they bullshit people and steal from the regular. I mean, sure, take it as a compliment if you want. Slick your hair back.
Well, thank you. I will take it as a compliment. We'll move on to We'll move on to steel manning biological evolution. First of all, you can't have biological evolution.
You can't even do it.
You can't even do it. You can't even do it without abiogenesis theory.
You won't lose any constituents if you do it.
What is that, hon?
Well,
you won't lose any constituents if you drop the PC.
Well, we could just assume a biogenesis science because life is here. So
right, I know.
However it happened, it happened.
Here's an example of atheist logic. Abiogenesis must be true. Look, there's life.
Because life is here.
Here we are.
Look, there's life.
Yeah, I mean, look,
Yes, it happened,
that's some poor logic, man. I mean, you got holes in your logic. Maybe there's
you believe it came from non-life. I believe it came from non-life.
Well, can I please just steel man biological evolution?
I believe it happened naturally. You believe it happened magically. I'll allow you.
I'm just trying to steel man biological evolution.
I want to make that dichotomy clear.
On your channel, like being asked,
talking about other shit. So, but now you may steel man.
But back to steel manning biological evolution, because you can't have biological evolution without abiogenesis, because you need that first cell organism.
Well, we have it.
But you need much more than that first celled organism, because they believe beyond that it became a multicellular organism. But before that even happened, they believed that that single cell reproduced in the first place, probably by splitting, right, into two. Right. So what we can conjecture, but the whole thing is there's no proof of this Luca, this last universal common ancestor. There's no proof. So let's start at the beginning. There's Luca, okay? An imaginary ancestor of humankind that evolutionists believe in, the last universal common ancestor, this single-celled organism that evolved into some multicellular organism. We don't know what that looked like either because we don't have that. But what we do have is in the deepest layers, the arcane layers,
Once
in the
again,
most
you want to
supposed
fill.
layers. Well, can I
Please.
hang on? What?
No,
I'm sorry.
no,
It's your
no.
show. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yes, but you're also not doing a steel man. You're doing a straw man. You're straw manning us as hard as you can. I do, which is why.
Not really, because I'm accurately depicting your theory, your system beliefs, and
No,
I'm
you're
going
not.
to throw a wrench in there, and I'm going to show you why
Sure.
it's wrong. That's what a strong man is.
So
Or a steel man argument. Yeah, that's exactly what a steel man argument is.
Why it's wrong.
A steel man is when you
represent,
and give a fair representation.
Right, you represent the other side.
As strong as it
Right.
could be.
So when you say we
and
haven't
then at
seen
the
a
end,
picture
you explain why
you
it
say
doesn't
we
work.
haven't seen a picture of
Right. So first you explain biological evolution,
organism?
and then you explain why it's wrong. That's a steel man.
So
no.
Yes. That's a steel man argument. I just looked it up. It's when you represent the other argument accurately, and then you give an argument against it. That's a steel man argument.
You can give an argument against it, but that's not part of steel manning it.
Giving an argument after is something different. A steel man
it is an argument that's actually good against it. That's a steel man.
No,
when you represent the other side accurately, and then you.
Oh my goodness.
All right, regardless, let me give my steel man for biological evolution if you agree with the definition of it. The common definition of it or not.
No, please.
Hey, I just gave the common definition.
No, but you weren't actually answering the question.
Read it from the computer right now.
So
read it from the computer.
Please.
Read it from the computer for steel man. I know you're looking at it.
Negative.
Look it up. Look it up. What do you got?
No, we're not gonna look anything up.
All right, so you can't have biological evolution without abiogenesis. We moved on to the microcellular organism.
See science. What I want to ask you, please, I want to know, do you expect us to have a picture of an animal from billions of years ago?
No, I don't think you have a time machine, do you? Can you go get? We got to call Dr. Brown. We got to call Dr. Emmett Brown and get him in here, because if we can get a picture of one of these animals, let's do it. Let's get Dr. Brown. Call Marty. Hey, no, get Marty.
So to complain we don't have a picture of something that you even know, okay, yeah.
We need to get a picture of one of these animals, because
why are you bringing up that we don't have a picture?
Okay, but you got a fossil, right? Of what? Yeah, I know. She asked for a picture of one of these animals. I was like, you need a time machine to take a picture, right? Because we do have fossils of these animals, but that's, yeah, I don't think that qualifies for photo. It's remnants of it, and a lot of times these animals are pieces.
It's analogous to a photo, to photos. Now the frame rates aren't always so
well,
high.
You know what it is? It's the actual animal. It's better. It's the actual animal's remains. It's better in a way. And a lot of times you can't see the skin. You can't see what it really looked like, but it's imagined, and artists go out and draw it. They have these artists that do interpretation.
Yeah, there's a little bit of interpretation. Sure.
Hey, it's Mark Reid. Good day, mate.
What's up, Mark?
Mark Reid. Mark Reid, come on and talk about evolution theory with me, mate.
Cat down the road.
Let's throw another shrimp on the Barbie, eh?
And listen,
let's get into it.
I know we grill you and we roast each other. I really do. I'm sending you love.
No, I'm just trying to steel man. I'm just trying to get through your steel man argument. You guys won't even let me.
You're trying to
understand why.
We'll try and get through your straw man.
Repression, man.
We'll try and get through your straw man. But it's just you living up
to the stereotypes. We're just living up to stereotypes that I have defined for you guys. It's deflection, denial, repression.
Well,
attacks to character. It's lashing out at the Bible, lashing out at different creationists. It's pretty weak.
Not really.
You got no evidence. Yeah.
We
can talk about fossils all day, because I actually know a lot about the fossils.
Random claims.
I'm gonna get it. You know what I'm gonna get into right now? I like you guys a lot from the shit. I got some Johnny Walker, baby. What's up? I'm gonna get into that bottle. Hey, you know what? Oh, look at that Johnny Walker waiting in my
red label or black label?
Hang on.
It's got to be red label, right?
It is.
Tell me it's red label.
I've got two here. Let me look.
It's red label.
I've got Johnny Walker, The Song of Fire, which is one of those Game of Thrones limited edition Johnny Walkers. And then I've got Johnny Walker High Rye Blended Scotch Whiskey. A rich and rounded blend of whiskeys crafted from rye and barley wheat and married with the finest single malts. Johnny Walker, distilled, blended, and bottled in Scotland. Right where it should be. Hey, you know what, though?
If it's Scotch,
would you like me to steel man your argument, or would you like to keep dancing around and gilligapping?
We can continue your straw man.
I like horses myself, but galloping like that's like.
Drink a little bit of Scotch.
I do not think you are able
to
steel man evolution, but we can continue.
I'm absolutely able to, and if you guys would let me, I was already all the way to multi-celled organisms.
See, but what you do is you say something that is kind of correct. And
what happens is you guys interrupt your guests is what happens.
No. Okay, how about this? Don't throw in any opinions. Throw in only what are facts.
What do you mean? All you guys have are your opinions.
Try not to.
I'm going to steel man your opinion. I got to give you your opinion.
Try not to say something completely stupid.
No, all you guys have. No, listen.
Can you do that for us? Can you do that? See science. Don't say something dumb. For like
I'm sorry. What'd you say,
seconds.
James? I'm sorry. I was talking.
I said don't say anything dumb for like 30 seconds, and then that would be great. And
likewise,
maybe
James. Likewise.
Maybe.
Hey, James. Likewise. You know what works with gaslighting every time is if you say likewise. But we could do it like we used to back in the schoolyard. Hey, James, did I come at the wrong time?
Yeah, absolutely not.
Did I come at the wrong time, James?
Oh no.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Always the right time.
I'm sorry,
James.
Here,
tell you. And I'm
it tells you. It comes to Amy always says it comes at exactly the right time.
That's right.
Now listen, let me steel man a biological evolution. I mean, I tried to steel man evolution in general. I was going to work all the way from the Big Bang,
but
you guys don't want to go there.
It certainly is.
But see, the difference is
I haven't even taken my first shot yet. Big Mom is such a lie. Yo, she all she has is her deflection or weak slaps. And you know what the thing is even if I did get liquored up, even if I was crazy, even if I was just trying to impress Newman and James, even if it doesn't matter if I'm playing outside my bounds of education, if I'm right. You know, if I'm right about this, who gives a shit if I'm not educated?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because it is basically the entire educated community versus creationists.
It's not really, because a lot of people are afraid to talk about it because they know they're going to be talked down on and pretty much oppressed in their own scientific community by the higher ups. Because it is like some cabal. It really is. It's like some persons are like, you don't think there's some cabal, do you? Some kind of bunch of religion. It's like, yes, evolution is absolutely a state-protected religion. Absolutely. In fact, you guys are groomed to believe in evolution. Case in point, you both were religious upbringing, and you were groomed by society to become atheists.
Do you believe
I never believed in evolution when I went to school?
Did you know that Richard Dawkins' father? Did you know that Richard Dawkins?
Hold on. You can go to Richard Dawkins in a second. I'll let you go. Do you believe the Earth is round?
Absolutely.
Do you believe
it's actually not completely round. It's actually like, roundish. It's globular. It's globular,
Do you believe?
Now listen, this is observable truth, though. This is science. Yeah.
Yes, just like evolution.
Yeah. No, it's not. That's crazy.
Do you believe in gravity?
That's where we disagree. That's where I lose you, because I actually know the difference between science and theory. You see, science is the body of knowledge that we've gained through the method. The scientific method. We've gained a lot of knowledge.
No.
That's what science. Yes, don't do that. This is true. Go look up the etymology of science if you don't believe me. No. Go look up the etymology. Go look up the etymology.
Science teacher. Just because where the word comes from does not mean what the word science currently, right now, means. That not the body of knowledge. It's a process.
Listen, I know it's not what you guys refer to when you mean science, because you abuse the word and you misuse it. Because you don't understand what the actual definition of science is. Yeah. So science isn't the method that we use to gain the science. It's not the theories surrounding the science.
So when you learn something, it's just science? That's just what you know something. Now it's science.
Yeah,
Hey!
Science is observable truth.
Becky's
It's
coming over
seeable.
to my
Hey,
house
listen.
on Wednesday.
It's
That's
seeable
Science is a
science.
process. It's a methodology.
Yes.
It's a mindset.
Yes.
It's
If
a
someone
way
is
of,
at your house,
it's a
if someone
way
is
of
at your house, you can smell them,
acquiring
you can touch
information
them.
about
Now
the
listen,
natural world.
that is the scientific method. If you can see them, you can smell them, you can touch them, then you can tell that they're probably
Wait.
there.
Did you just see
That's the
all of
scientific
those
method.
things? If you could
Yeah.
test things, if you could test for them, yes.
Yes. Yeah, that's the scientific method. Yeah. That's how you know they're there. But that's how you gain the science.
James,
it's not the science
let's
itself.
Let's just pretend it all started out like we all just agreed. Yes. What were we talking about anyway? What do you want to talk about now?
The science is truth, but that evolution theory is not science, and that the theories surrounding the science are not science, and that you guys fail to differentiate between the theories and the science. Let's talk about that.
Science uses theories. Listen, science doesn't deal in absolute fact. We don't get that in the natural world. We deal in theory.
Oh, okay.
Models.
Did you know that the sea is always salty? Hey, James. Did you know the sea is always salty? Yeah. Did you know that's truth? Did you know it's observable truth? You can go to the sea, taste it, and it's salty. Yeah.
Okay.
That's science, dude. It's always true.
That's an observation.
Truths. No, hang on. Now there are absolute truths out there. So, what do you mean that there aren't any absolute truths? If there are,
we don't deal in absolute knowledge. We have, first of all the information we get comes from our senses, which are not.
Who
perfect.
doesn't? When you say we, who do you mean by we?
I mean humans in
general. You mean atheists?
We don't get absolute knowledge. No, we don't get absolute knowledge. Everything we know is provisional. It's based on other assumptions that we make.
Did you know that sand exists? James, did you know I can go down to the beach and grab a handful of sand?
Maybe it's not sand. Maybe it's
I'm gonna have to interrupt both of you to say
I could throw it in my mouth and crunch on it for a while and be, chew it up.
The link is in chat,
Sandy.
Rob Christian.
Tastes
and so
great.
if you'd like to call in, right there. You say you don't stand a chance against us. Come find out. I'm just saying.
But as Amy always likes to say, theories are frameworks of facts. We take these observations and we come up with a theory about, say, ocean salinity. How do they get salt? How do they retain salt? Do they get saltier?
Right, and those are the theories that surrounding the science.
Or less salty. Those are theories. All theories.
You have beliefs. You have beliefs surrounding about how the sea got salty, but it's science that the sea is salty. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Science is the process. It's not just an observation.
And that's what I'm telling you is the theories that I question and remain skeptical of surrounding evolution.
So
now listen. Do you want me to steel man evolution quickly?
No,
that seems to be what you're looking for. No, let me do it quick. You guys believe that animals, right? That when mutation happens, it builds new things, and that it grows new animal forms somehow by mutation, which is a destructive biological force on the genome of any animal.
Once again, I said no opinions. You just tried to add in your opinion.
Yeah.
So mutations can be both harmful, they can be benign, and they can be beneficial to the organism. Just had to correct that.
Beneficial, huh? Yes. Name one beneficial.
Are you? Let me ask you this first. Are you a fan of Kenobi?
Web feeder is a beneficial mutation.
Yeah.
How is it beneficial? It helps you swim faster.
If you're in a more aquatic environment, might get selected for.
Amy, we don't live in the water, Amy. If we have web feet, that's a bad
holy
thing.
Shit! Yes, that's the
Amy,
point.
Listen.
Yes. Wait. Genes.
Everyone has skin between their toes. Here's the thing. Everybody already has that anatomy. Everybody has skin between their toes. The fact that it's different on some people is not new anatomy. That's the thing where evolutionists get confused. They're like, yes, evolution happens. Look at all the anatomy this animal lost. No, they're like, look. Wait. They're like, look, this animal lost anatomy. That's evolution, guys. Look, if you lose everything, you gain it all.
Yeah, whales have legs.
You gain it all.
That's
steel manning evolution quickly.
Why do whales have legs?
That's steel manning evolution quickly for you. Hey, guys, do you believe that if we lose everything, we gain it all? Do you believe if
That's
we
a
lose
Ken
everything?
Hovind quote.
That's crazy, man.
15-yard penalty.
All we have is
Do
proof
not
that
pass
mutation
go.
destroys and causes things to be inactive.
Okay,
That's all
what's
we
your
have evidence
source for that?
We caused that. Yeah, okay. I put
What
it
is
on
your
your channel
source for
multiple
that?
times in the past. Didn't you read that biosemiotic entropy article that I sent you? The last time you didn't even read it?
Entropy?
I don't believe you repressed it, even though your own guest shared it.
Genetic entropy is pseudoscience.
Did you watch the video? You want to talk about it? Let's watch a video and let's talk about that on here. I have a 3-minute video we could watch.
No,
Big Mama's gonna cry. Big Mama's probably gonna cry.
What we're going to do is I'm going to
but,
give
you know,
it. What's happening is that the skeptics are see the problem is this is supposed to be a call-in show. It's not supposed to be.
They're all coming on.
To try.
Maybe we'll give them each a crack at him.
All right, you all get 10 minutes, and I mean it. You keep on saying it. The link is in chat. You can't say you have to be a troll because I am like thirsty for debates. I'm like too thirsty for it. So if you want to get in there,
it's like on the side of the road. We'll debate for food with a sign.
Food, yes, that's what the sign says. She said, "There's no way this. I lose." Yes, Beamsy, hi. You get 10 minutes from the moment you start talking. We're talking the Abrahamic God. How are you doing? And we have C Science here talking with us.
Oh, fine, but C Science, if you want a good indication of a very good mutation, there's a family in Italy with the surname of Bao in the village of Storetto.
Are you talking about the kids that are unmovable because they have mental handicaps because they can't get off their feet? And you think that that's a positive mutation because it's going backwards? It's de-evolution or something? No? Okay, go on. Because that's just one of those things that evolutionists push all the time. They're like, look, we used to be monkeys. These kids can't walk.
Let him tell you what his actual
I want to hear. Yeah, I want to hear Beamsy's positive mutation. Did you know, Beamsy, that mutation is the reason for all forms of cancer that we know of that's happened to mankind?
No, it's not.
Oh, it's not? Denial? How isn't it?
There's multiple ways that cancers can actually form.
Through mutation, that's it.
No.
There's multiple ways mutation can happen. That's what you mean.
Mutation is one aspect of cancer. Another one is through just the destruction of a cell. That's not a mutation of a cell. That's a destruction of a cell.
A destruction of a cell, yeah. By what?
By
Isn't all destructions of cells and stuff mutation as well?
No.
Oh, it's not. Okay. Is it by radiation? Is it by chemical influence, or is it by reproduction? What destroyed it? Was there something coming down from the sky? Was it radiation?
Not necessarily the sky, but can I go back to what I was saying?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you're positive beneficial mutation.
There is a family in the village of Storetto in Italy, and it's a family with the surname of Bao. They have a pancreas that has got a specific mutation in it that actually breaks down the fatty foods that they have. Even though the majority of them are super obese, none of them have ever had any consequence of stroke or heart attack.
Wow, that sounds like a beneficial mutation. Why don't you give me a blood anemia disease too as a beneficial mutation? Why don't you give me a blood disease too as a beneficial mutation, Beams?
I could probably find one, but that's
it's called
this one I know off the top of my head.
It's a blood anemia, yeah. And it's claimed as to be a positive mutation. Here's the thing: you guys are like, oh my gosh, look, a rearrangement of gene material made a positive thing happen for the organism. That's beneficial. That means that all animals can come from a single cell organism. That's what that justifies. It's like, no, that doesn't justify that belief. You're so far from justifying that belief. Well, it's ridiculous. Your beneficial mutations are so far. No, hang on. Your beneficial mutations are so far.
No, but here's the
that
thing.
They could not possibly account for the production of an eyeball.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing: is that you guys say there are no beneficial mutations. You say that Ken Hovind says it every day, and then when we show you one, you just move the goalpost and you say, "Oh, well, you think that could cause an organism to change?" So. Yeah.
No. I didn't move the goalpost. I asked for a beneficial mutation, and you told me something.
He showed you one.
People more obese because they're able to handle something. Listen, that's not a good working human being, man. That's something in decline. That's something that's got genetic disorders.
Your opinion.
The reason. Oh yeah. It is my opinion. It's my informed opinion. Yeah. Yeah, that mutation
That is moving the goalpost.
detrimental to the biology of a living organism. It's proven science that mutation destroys, and it's the reason for all cancer, which is what you deflected away from in the first place here. Deflected away from the fact that cancer is brought on by mutation, and every single genetic disorder known to humankind is brought on by the same force that you say is what created all the many forms we see. The same thing that created all the vast environments, all the ecosystem that are interdependent, that are balanced so well on each other that if one animal dies, it wipes out an entire part of the ecosystem just because it's balanced on the one animal. You think that those ecosystems built themselves? We're saying that they were built. Okay, yours is the exact opposite. You're saying that a single-celled organism became many animals. We're saying that many animals used to exist and we've lost them over time, and that there's evidence of this in the fossil record. We know the fossils. We have the same fossils. The problem is you get these single fossils that you say, oh, look, this extinct animal form must be a form that's in between these two animals that we know of now.
Yeah.
That's silly, man. That's silly.
It's science.
Yeah, it is. Listen, what if they're just extinct animals?
Well, they are extinct animals.
Yeah,
so
yeah, exactly. That's
they are
just extinct. What if they're not the interspecies? What if they're not the transitional
they are
form
still
of anything?
ancestral, but they are.
What if they're not the ancestral or transitional
species,
form of anything?
Extinct. But they can still be the ancestor of living species today.
Here's the thing: in every single layer of strata that we find living forms, there's living forms, and then that still exist now.
Well,
you have living forms. You have living fossils.
Doesn't say that all animals
you have living fossils
change.
Okay.
Yeah.
Today you have living fossils that are alive.
Not a problem.
Like cyanobacteria. It's not a problem, right? Tell me why it's not a problem for you to have cyanobacteria in the oldest layers that life exists.
Highly adapted to
in the archaean strata. In the archaean strata, you have cyanobacteria. Yeah, they don't need to change. That's nice.
Right.
So you believe that animals were changed by mass extinction events. You believe that they're changed by mutation and environmental pressures.
Yes.
Yeah, you believe that there's I know you agree with me because I'm strong. I'm steel manning your argument right now. I know you
actually no, you're not. The aspect of what you're trying to say is the modern cyanobacteria existed billions of years ago. That's actually incorrect.
That is
a form similar.
It is. Oh, really? Yeah. No shit. Okay, listen. Did you believe that you didn't exist billions of years ago either?
That's a
wow. Yeah. I mean, would you believe that you weren't alive then because you were born so many years ago? That wasn't that long ago.
Yeah. No, you're misunderstanding what I just said.
Would you believe that the cyanobacteria alive today aren't the same cyanobacteria that were alive back then? Yeah,
I didn't say alive.
You're absolutely right, Beamsy. But you know what you're wrong about is that they are the same organism. Yeah.
No, they're not.
They've changed very little over the entire course of the history, and you have these mass extinction events, right? That you've hypothesized. It's not you, okay? It's the scientists that you have treated like you're priests. You just follow them blindly.
I am a scientist myself.
No, yeah, no. I mean, no. You're not a scientist. Like, listen. You follow the scientists, right? But you follow them like it's like a blind faith, like it's your religion. Just like a Catholic follows their priests.
I just have to add into the record. I'm something of a scientist myself.
Science can
shut up for science, 10 minutes? Every single facet of science
I'm also Spider-Man.
Was invented by a creationist. Physics,
they didn't know any better back then.
Chemistry, created by a creationist. They did know better, James.
Now they know better.
There was atheists all the way in India. Yeah.
Am I allowed to speak now? Because
the first philosophers in India, they actually had an atheist sect. They were a very advanced philosophical civilization in India.
Go ahead, Beamsy.
You just mute me when I'm talking, and I actually make sense. That's cute, James.
No,
you're not
you keep talking to me.
No, talk on. You obviously had something to say. You're going to mute me in the middle of me talking about how the Indians had an atheist philosophy.
Okay, you made your point.
It's nothing new. It's nothing new. Atheism is nothing new. Like I'm a skeptic myself. I'm skeptical that everything can come from nothing, and no creator, and that the laws of reality wrote themselves.
You call that Beamsy say something? Well, thank you.
The extent of what's been presented by Sea Science is obviously a straw man. by saying that we need the 6 levels of evolution that is being presented by Ken Hoven is incorrect, because there are people like Kenneth Miller, who is an evolutionary biologist.
Well, let me stop you right there because
is,
I never did claim that. I don't even know the 6 steps of evolution by Holen.
Let him
so
make
that's
his
some kind
point,
of
and then
slap.
you can
No,
refute it.
James. Hang on, James. That's some kind of slap from his own imagination. I don't even know the 6 steps of whatever evolution. Listen, I'm telling you that there's biological evolution and that there's cosmic evolution. You can go on the internet and look it up right now. It's a fact of science. Do you deny it?
Can you tell me the definition of cosmic evolution? It should be in 6 words. Go.
The creation of the universe.
Wrong.
Right. Tell
No.
me how I'm wrong.
Look up the definition of cosmic evolution. Cosmic evolution is the evolution of the cosmos over time. That is cosmic evolution.
Yeah, he dropped. I didn't kick him or anything.
It was, we were at, we were almost at his time, which...
Yeah, but he wasted most of that time.
I don't like interrupting people, but I just kept getting interrupted.
No, it's so funny. You're very sassy, Beamsy, but at the same time, you're also very polite.
Very polite.
The extent of what he's been presenting is a complete and utter straw man. If you was going to stillman evolution, you'd have to present that evolution is just the way that animals change over time. That is the only way that you could ever straw man. Anything else that adds into it of an opinion is just a straw man. Kenneth Miller believes that God is the one that created the multicellular reproductive creatures that actually are the basis of evolution and the basis of where all modern life forms come from. And he is a old Earth creationist in that aspect. That is one way to look at evolution. There's other people that believe that extraterrestrials had a hand in it.
Is that what you believe, Beams? Beams, are you telling me your beliefs from your deepest subconscious mind right now?
No, I'm showing how to stillman evolution.
That this life was seeded by some intelligent being from the universe?
The aspect of abiogenesis is...
And you got to realize that life does take an intelligence, so you got to blame it on some other intelligence.
If
there is an intelligence, where did that intelligence come from? Like, if there is an alien life form that seeded this life, what seeded that life? Like, there's got to be a beginning. Do you think that abiogenesis just happens billions and billions of years? Like, it takes that long for it to happen, and it must have happened somewhere else, and then, this life here was created later on by something that had evolved somewhere else? Is that what you believe? Because that's not the common evolution belief. That's not the common evolution narrative. And that's the thing I see with evolution is there's a lot of denominations of atheism. There's a lot of denominations of atheism. They point at the religious and say, oh, look how many different ideas they have and different doctrines. But when you look at the atheists, they have many more, I think.
Yeah, we don't claim absolute knowledge. You guys do.
Evolution has nothing to do with being an atheist. It's just a framework of facts. It is a law of nature. And the only reason that
James doesn't believe in truth, Amy,
go after it is because it's like a proxy battle.
But did James just say he doesn't believe in truth?
I said we don't have absolute truth.
No, I think he said absolute truth.
He
doesn't believe in truth.
Knowledge.
Yeah. Okay, well, isn't truth
before we go down?
No, hang on. No. Hang on.
No, because we're passing that.
Isn't truth?
Because we have to go through here, and I just
isn't all truth.
I realize I feel like you are never going to defend the Abrahamic God.
And we want to defend the Abrahamic God. Yeah. I forgot what the subject was. Now listen, what was the title of this show?
Because we got it. We're the Abrahamic God. But that's
Seasides, shut up.
I wasn't talking when you just talked, dude. What the hell are you talking about?
You were speaking over me repetitively. I am trying to speak and actually.
Hey, Beamsy, flare out in front of everyone, yo. Flare out.
This is not angry. This is just me using a loud voice.
I'm glad you.
Anger would actually be using an ability to it. No, I do get angry, but it's very difficult for me to actually be angry.
Let me give my Steelman evolution argument.
You cannot steelman anything because you've just been using straw mans and opinions. Now, can I continue with what I was saying without you being rude and trying to speak over me?
I think James may. That's okay, Beamsy. Just talk. You got the rest. You have a minute to say because we have to. We got base theory and then Mark and then I think he may have muted himself. Then never mind.
Yeah, I don't like using that voice, but the idea of
his angry voice.
That's not my angry voice. Would you like me to use my angry voice? But
oh, don't get lit up, dude. Listen. I was just playing with you, Dick. Don't get all hard on me.
Okay, this conversation just got a lot hotter than I thought it was going to get.
When it presents the idea of evolution, whatever happens is too many people think that it needs to start from something. But as I've said before, there are multiple different ways you could have actually do it. The only time that evolution can actually take part is when there is some reproductive process that allows for the mixing of it. The idea of we come from a microbe is incorrect because there is things called cross-gene transfers. With cross-gene transfers, it actually completely changes the way that evolution takes place. That's why microbial evolution is very different to what we use in large systems.
Wow, Beams actually sounded like he knew what he was talking about for a second, didn't he?
Yeah, go figure.
And that's what we're gonna end on.
No. Let me ask you about something before we go. Before we go, I have a question for Beamsy because he really seems like he knows what he's talking about.
It means that he has to give answers.
Beamsy, in the beginning of the show, I talked about the human chromosome fusion. Oh, did he run away?
Beamsy.
No, I think he actually left because he's a
Beamsy left. Oh, Beam. I was going to ask him about the human chromosome fusion. If he thought it happened in a single generation.
You can talk to Grayson about that.
We are going to give Based and Mark each 10 minutes because we have to go fair, but then we're going to go in opposite order. We're going to go Rob and then Disciple Day because Disciple is a skeptic, so he'll probably stick around. But Rob, we don't know if he'll stick around. So we love you, Rob. We hope you do stick around. But we're going to, enough talking. Let's get him in. Doop-a-doop. Boop, shoop. Based.
Yo.
Hey.
Your 10 minutes. Welcome. We are calling me skeptical. The Abrahamic God. Welcome. And what are your thoughts?
Based.
Yeah, hey, I'm absolutely not going to take the 10 minutes at all. I'm just going to say hi, and I'm happy to be here. The only thing that I'll say, just because it seems like everyone is joining and adding in an example of a beneficial mutation, for C Science's sake. So I'll just say tetrachromacy is one of my favorites. It's where some small percentage of people are born with a fourth color receptor in their eyes. So instead of red, blue, and green, they get a fourth one, a shiny new one that nobody else has, for like a more of a yellow frequency of color. And that allows them to see thousands of new colors in a very small percentage of those. This is also a good example because it requires multiple mutations. You not only have to have the new color receptor, but you also have to have the neural pathways in your brain in order to process all the new colors you can see. But some people do have both mutations and are able to see literally thousands, if not millions, of extra colors that you and I cannot see. So I think that's a mutation that I would really love to have. So yeah, that's one of my favorite examples. Maybe we'll get to the actual topic of the discussion of the existence of the Abrahamic God. I don't know, but that's a conversation I'd be interested to have as well. So I'll just pass it along to whoever's next.
Grayson, it's great to hear from you. Listen, let me just talk to Grayson real quick about that. That's a great beneficial mutation example, Grayson. But I gotta say that what kind of mutation actually led to that if it wasn't the reactivation of something that already existed? Because I was already aware of that mutation being called a beneficial mutation. There's actually quite a list of beneficial claim mutations.
But you
But what
keep
the
saying there are none.
creationist view is that what the creationist view is that these beneficial mutations aren't sufficient to account for the amount of mutations and beneficial mutations that would need to take place in the first place to create the first living organisms, or even the advanced anatomy that we see functioning on the organisms modernly today. We don't think that the beneficial mutations named could ever account for any of those things. And a lot of the times it's just something that has been turned off in the past has been turned back on if it's a beneficial mutation. And the idea behind that, as far as the creationists go, is it's something that used to exist that we've regained access to through mutation, some switch that's been turned back on by mutation. Is that the case with the eyesight?
No,
Seeing
it's
that new
not.
frequency. Okay, what kind of mutation led to it then?
A duplication.
So you're telling me that it was a duplicate gene that was mutated beyond that led to it? Are you sure? Because I'll go check you, and I'll go check right now. I'll be right back.
Okay.
You want me to go check?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you see what he just offered there is we like to call that a good old-fashioned argument from incredulity. And he pairs that.
Well,
up
here's
with
the thing. It's
moving
not because
goalposts.
I'm actually
Well,
stating
you're
that
looking
the
up your
beneficial
thing. Look up your
mutations that
thing.
you guys have stated do not sufficiently explain what we see today.
That's
in
your
all the different
Because that's
opinion.
not what you asked
That's
for.
my
an
Science.
it's
argument
my
from
educated opinion.
incredulity.
Yes, you're absolutely right. It's my educated opinion.
Well, see,
that
Science, what you
these-
asked for was just an example of a beneficial mutation. You didn't ask what
I
is
didn't ask
every
for a
beneficial mutation that is
First of all,
necessary
you guys
to get
brought
from a
on the idea
single
of beneficial
cell
mutation.
ancestor to here.
First of
You
all,
just
you
asked
guys.
for one in
First
general.
of all, Grayson, Newman brought up the idea of beneficial mutations, not me, because I don't ever use the word. I don't believe in beneficial mutations.
Yeah,
I only believe in
you
neutral
said there were none.
mutations. I only believe in neutral mutations that happen to benefit the creature. Now, these beneficial mutations do not
What?
account for what would be needed to account for the entire human body. The human genome is a very, very complex. Yes,
Excuse
I
me, I
use
don't
the
eat
word.
food. I
Very
put
complex, very
substance
well
into my
ordered,
hole.
very intricate system that allows for the humans to exist.
Let's just
So
get
you want us
But
to
these beneficial
show-
mutations you name, like, I highly doubt that it was duplication, but I'll check it out. I mean, but if anything, that duplication allowed for something that might have already existed, especially if the neural pathways were already allowing it and already built
No.
to allow it, or that it
No,
adapted
because-
after the fact. It's
No,
like,
I'll
no,
explain
Grayson, all this denial, but like you didn't tell
Yeah,
me.
let me.
like,
I'm not just
duplication,
denying. I'm
explain
trying to
it.
offer an
How
explanation, but
do
you're
you
talking
know? How
over
do you
that
know that it was
explanation.
duplication that led to that beneficial mutation?
Yeah, he's gonna tell you.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now
Check the
because
paper.
because humans do not have the genes for a fourth color receptor. We do have the genes for 3 color receptors, and the mutation that creates a fourth one is a duplication of one of the existing color receptors that mutates to then absorb in a different frequency of light. So it's a mutation followed by mutations of that duplication.
And it's a really cool mutation. And some people have 2 different colored eyes. The thing is
That's
it
totally
doesn't
a non
account for the
sequitur.
creation of the eye itself. And that's where the
You're
creation
moving the
is coming from.
goalpost.
And that's what you guys are missing, I think, in the big picture that you're not understanding.
No,
Yeah,
you
yeah, I
guys are
think so,
saying no
James.
beneficial mutations. We show you some, and then
No,
you say,
no,
well,
I've never said there's. Listen. I said
You-
that
you
there's.
have said
Yeah, you're
it.
right.
You
I
have
said there's no
said it.
beneficial mutations.
You
What I
have.
said is there's
You
only
continue to
neutral
say it.
mutations. is what I
And you
said.
know what? You'll say it next time because the creationist
Yeah.
script never changes. You
Oh my
never
goodness.
incorporate
Listen
new
to your
information.
sass, though. It's always the same thing with you guys. It never changes. It's always the same.
Well, you know
same
where you
script.
came.
I swear. I
Let's
always
just
say
get
it's the
Mark
same
in here.
script. It's always deflection. Listen now, base theory. Let me talk more about this mutation. So you think it's from a duplicate
But
gene,
see,
right? Now let me ask. No, hang on. Let me ask.
you're like,
because I
hang
almost
on.
got to
But
ask
that's
Beanie
what you
this.
said a few minutes
No,
ago.
hang on. I'm sorry, Amy, but
Hey,
in the
see,
beginning of the
Science,
show, I
it
was
is
trying to
Amy's
ask you
show.
about the gene fusion when you brought up beneficial mutations. Am I correct?
Yes, well, at the beginning of the show, I was trying to ask you about the Abrahamic God, but what happens with young Earth creationists is, generally speaking, the only
Right.
thing
But
they
then
want
after
to talk about
we got
is
into
highly technical subjects because
we
they
got
believe
into
in magic.
mutation, and then
And
you guys
magic
mentioned
is
beneficial
just not
mutation, right?
defendable.
Like I was telling Grayson, that's correct.
Yeah,
right?
yes. So I was trying to say, in fact, I was trying to add in my data. You were like, we were starting, I had nothing, you had nothing. Now I wanted to add in my
Right.
data.
We
which
both
is-
confirmed that the evolutionists realized that there's no
and that
explanation
the
for the
creationists
creation
have
of life
no
initially.
explanation for how
And a
humans
lot of
came
them
to be.
resort to believing in an intelligent being in the universe, creating it like Beamsy seems to believe.
I don't think that Beamsy does.
Well, he seemed to
Nonetheless-
suggest that an alien life form might have created it. Maybe
No,
we
I
can
think
check
he
on
was
him.
saying
Beamsy is
that was
pagan.
that was one possible explanation, and that is not that they're just using it as an example of how that could. Okay, so I want the data that I wanted to add in.
Yeah,
is
that's what he
that-
jumped to because he had the explanation.
So the data that I just wanted to add in is that we are around the circumstellar habitable zone. We are carbon, as John Stewart would say, which is the slut of the periodic table. We interact with more elements than all the other elements on the periodic table combined, and we have, because of being in the circumstellar habitable zone, we have liquid water. And because of liquid water and carbon and the fact that we are getting light poured on us, it is actually not surprising that abiogenesis happened. Poof. Poof.
See, that's where you made the leap in logic at the end there.
We have people that are starting to come on, so it was lovely having you on. I'm gonna throw you out, get Mark on, and then I see
Thank
the
you so
Muslim
much,
apologist is in there. I think the other Christian jumped off, but lovely having you, and I'm looking forward to your debate. Go check out, I think,
Grayson is a great
Base
debater.
Theories and C Science's upcoming debate, and yes, he is.
Well, I really enjoyed your
we're gonna
leap
be
of logic
debating
at the end of that there.
We're going to
Amy.
be debating on the 24th, and the topic is going to be Australopithecus, the missing link.
The
Oh boy, what is it gonna be?
Australopithecine. Yes, we're arguing, is there believable
Standing for
evidence for the Australopithecine? But
But
we're not going to talk about that tonight. Grayson and I decided we're not going to discuss any of those topics because we are not going to give you guys a preview.
Based,
Where's it
You're going to have to come see that. So get ready.
Is it on SFT?
Listen to me, I got some fossils, Grayson. Don't you run.
Yeah, it's going to be on Standing for Truth. Also, Australopithecine, not a word.
I've got the
That's gonna
fossil.
be
Man.
amazing.
Listen, I've got this.
So much
I got a
love.
fossil. It's going to change the world. It's going to change your guys' mind.
oh
If you watch
my.
this, if you actually watch it, and
Amy's
you
got a
don't
fossil
repress
for
it.
you.
Amy, I hope you'll be there in the.
She's got
in
a
the
bone
chat.
for you.
I hope you guys will be there in the chat, though.
Trust me, I'm expecting the very
Isn't
specific
that Mark Reid?
fossil. That is Mark Reid.
Hey,
Hello,
Mark.
hello.
Time on the clock.
Thanks for
Welcome.
Okay, beautiful.
back up.
Thank you so much. It's so good to be here. And hello, Sea Salt. How are you doing? And James, always good to see you. A lot of
You
sea
sound
salt going
salty,
around
Mark.
in this chat.
You sound kind of salty.
So
mate.
the first thing I wanted to sort of outline was that some of the tactics used here, basically what's happening is that sea science is essentially just filling the air with noise, like so nobody can talk, nobody can have a discussion, just filling it with noise. But I wanted to come in and sort of just proffer some things that are beneficial mutations, apart from what Grayson offered, which is certainly a beneficial mutation. The one that I actually love is nyelinase, because nyelinase is basically an enzyme which we only found in a output waste from a nylon factory. So this couldn't possibly have been part of the DNA in the previous to it actually mutating the ability to break down nylon or the waste of nylon. It's sort of nylon 6. So another one that I do want to point to, because I'll just give a couple or maybe a few here, depending on how much time I've got, is almond seeds. Like we found a mutated almond seed that didn't have so much amygdalin, I think it is. It's the
I think you said it right.
Cyanide. It's a chemical that converts into cyanide inside the human body. So we found like wild almonds that basically found without this so much of this, it's a mutation. So we can actually use it. It isn't so bitter, and that's where we get sort of the almonds that we eat from. I mean, as a third example, just to round out the third one that I would point to is sort of the mutations of bacteria, that essentially bacteria gets more and more resistant to antibacterial properties, and then more and more resistance because they do mutate these resistances to the antibacterials. So those are probably the three that I would send out there. But I do notice, and Grayson noticed as well, that none of this is about the Abrahamic God. So I wanted to pose you the question, Sea Salty. Why are you so afraid to actually talk about the topic? Are you ashamed of your God, or are you afraid to talk about your God?
Oh, snap.
Oh, and there he goes, slapping around. Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. Now listen, Mark, I know you want to slap. I know you like to slap. But what it really is I think it's more important to talk about the atheism versus creationism debate. And I only got in here tonight, so I want to holler at you. Here's the thing. The identity of God. Here, no, Mark. The identity of God.
Okay. I can talk about that. It's just not the topic.
I'll talk about your stuff in just a second.
So you are afraid
we're to talk about the Abrahamic God. Now, hang on now.
So Mark. You are afraid to talk about your God.
Mark.
Because the thing is, even if you talk about creationism, it's not the Abrahamic God, because any God could have done the creationism, and it wouldn't be the Abrahamic God. So the Abrahamic God has a unique origin in sort of a pantheon of sort of the Abrahamic peoples. I'm sure Pat or Dr. Josh could tell you all about that, but you don't want to discuss Yahweh, that particular God of the Israelites that was part of the pantheon. I don't think it's necessary.
I think you misunderstand, Mark. No, I think you're misunderstanding.
Well, why are you afraid of that? Why are you afraid of that?
No, let me help you understand, Mark.
No, why are you afraid of that? Are you afraid to talk about Yahweh?
I understand right now.
Why not talk about Yahweh?
No, let me talk about you. Let me talk about the identity of God.
Talk about Yahweh. I want to hear about Yahweh. Who wants to hear about Yahweh? Can we get a quick poll? Quick poll. Who wants to hear about Yahweh? Go for it, Yahweh.
Listen to this guy cry.
Yeah, Yahweh, 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 Yahweh.
We can do it.
Woohoo!
You Arsenio Hall.
Oh, I know, right?
Listen to him go. Hey, Mark Reid, how's Australia treating you, buddy?
Yeah, it's good, mate.
That's good, mate. All right, that's cool.
Yeah.
So do you think the identity of God?
Oh, mate, shocker.
No, hang on. Let me tell you something.
That's terrible.
Do you think
your Australian accent is just as good as my American accent? I'll put it that way. Like that's shocking. That's terrible.
Oh, good day, mate.
That's terrible.
Good day, mate. Let's get on. Let's go out back and ride the kangaroos around.
I'm not trying to steal, man. I'm trying to make it a terrible accent.
No, let me tell you something about. Let me tell you something about God. Let me tell you something.
Yahweh.
The identity of God. No, let me tell you something. The identity of God does not.
I want to talk about Yahweh.
The identity of God doesn't matter to the creation versus evolution or the creation versus atheism debate.
Yeah,
because
that's not the topic at the moment.
Do you agree that you can argue creation and atheism without ever identifying God?
Are you scared to talk about Yahweh?
Do you deny? Do you? No, I'm not.
Have you?
No, I just want to ask you a simple question.
You don't want to talk about Yahweh?
Before you get off,
before you
don't want me to talk about your beneficial mutations.
Someone doesn't want to talk about
I know you don't
Yahweh.
want me to talk about your beneficial mutations that you brought and stuff, but we'll get to that. But let me talk about
so embarrassed about Yahweh. Why are you embarrassed about it?
Not, Mark. Why are you trying to project your own things onto me? Like it sounds like you're the one that's uncomfortable about Yahweh.
Yahweh's a
it sounds to me like you're trying to project your own subconscious fears onto me about Yahweh.
He basically was a Paleo-Hebrew god. Was in a pantheon against many Canaanite gods and goddesses. Now
you can prove that a creator exists without believing in the identity of God. You can believe in God and believe in evolution. You can believe in God and believe in abiogenesis. You can be a creationist and believe in evolution and abiogenesis.
Okay.
The identity of God is not necessary to the atheism.
But this is about the Abrahamic God, which is Yahweh. So there was a whole bunch of Canaanite gods and goddesses. So let's start with El. El was the leader of the pantheon, the leader of the pantheon. And El basically was the father of Yahweh. He was married to a consort that was called Asherah. And part of the pantheon was Yahweh's brother Baal. Now, Baal and Asherah were absorbed into the Yahwehist religion. They kind of
this guy might talk over everyone that's ever tried to
and then basically got subsumed to the Yahweh identity. So in fact, Yahweh is not only a guy god, he's actually a goddess as well, Asherah, who got incorporated into him. So that's the origin that sort of sea science is afraid of. That he doesn't want to talk about this. It's embarrassing for him. So he just wants to fill the air with sound. No one can talk. No one can actually discuss anything.
Yeah, Mark.
And then just basically just make it sound.
You can keep
because when you don't have any good arguments, and all you can do is bleat about how bad things are. Okay, sorry, Amy. Just thought I would do exactly the same that Sea Salty here is doing.
Yo, your mom called, yo.
It's a work.
Wow, how old are you?
It's good talking to you, Reid. Yo,
my mum's dead, so that would be quite
man,
is my mum Jesus? Is my mum Jesus? My mum rose from the dead. The second coming of Christ.
Here he goes.
The second coming of Christ.
We've touched all these soft spots.
Are you going to worship my mum? Is that what you're going to do? Please worship
the crazy things you end up saying when I talk to you is exactly why I talk to you.
Well, she wasn't crucified, but nobody said that Jesus would be crucified the second time round. That wasn't a thing,
bro. What did you ask me? What you asked me again? Just like
negative.
Listen, the last time I was on here, the guy tried to get me to apologize to him twice, so I basically told him to go get it off the roof. That's what that dude did. He's like, I apologize to him. He's like, I don't think he really means it. I'm like, you want to do it like we used to do back in the schoolyard, bro.
You
want to do it like
exactly
when he insulted Peter's recently departed mother. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Listen,
that's so Christian of you, dude. Like that's exactly what we expect from the Christians. Exactly what we expect. This is the level that you expect from the Christians.
We know they have that objective morality.
I know.
That's what's real.
We don't
sort
have
of this
that
whole
basis for our morality.
At least Grayson has the decency to have
salty, upset little boy going, I said you abused.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My God.
I'm not the one asking crazy questions about your mom, so you're the one bringing up your mom.
The kids at school said mean things.
Oh, I brought up your mum as well. Don't worry about that.
Did the kids at school say mean things about Yahweh? Their God's is bigger than your God. Our God can beat your God up.
No. You guys missed what I said.
Sea Science just goes into rooms and he's so salty that people don't believe him. So upset that people don't believe him. He gets this, well, I'm going to insult them too because they insulted my God. And like he pretends like he's let's just have fun. And he's so upset. Like he's so upset. It's hilarious.
Okay, anyway. He's trying to project his own. He's trying to project his own emotional, like his own emotional feelings onto me right now. That's what's happening.
But do you notice that he hasn't addressed anything?
It's a psychological defense mechanism. It's very common.
You haven't addressed anything so far. All you've done is talk.
The identity of God, Yahweh, it doesn't really matter.
Do you notice that I've brought up things about the Abrahamic God? I've brought up things about the Abrahamic God, like where the origin was, the actual history behind it, the actual pantheon that it came from, who the consort was that was subsumed into the Yahweh identity. Sea Science has got nothing to say. Nothing to say. He hasn't even said anything about evolution. All he does is just sit there and yap. It's sad.
No.
It's sad, man.
No, that's because you're not listening, Mark, because we've been talking about evolution this whole time. That's what this has been about. And we were just saying how we need to talk about something else.
I can read the title of the show, Season. Just because you're dense and don't understand the topic, it's not my fault. Like, seriously.
You just defeat yourself. You're a self-defeating dude.
That's okay. Mark,
self-defeating. I do beat myself up occasionally. I must admit.
Sounds healthy.
Self-defeating dude. Yes.
Now listen to this.
I love it when they call me dude. It's awesome. I love it. No, call me dude again. It makes me hard. Go on.
Let me just call me dude. One thing out, man. Let me just.
No. Call me dude. I love that. I love it. It just makes me so good.
We'll get it on tape and we'll record it, and you can make a soundboard of it.
Look. I mean, two things I love. One thing is them calling me dude. The other is calling me bro. If you want to call me bro as well, I know that you've just got so much salt petering up in that little throat of yours.
Listen,
yeah, there you go. Yeah. That's when you know that they're just so upset. Listen, bro. Yeah, love it.
Yeah,
Love it.
I'm so
Love it.
I'm so upset that
Yeah.
you guys can't let me get a sentence out.
Oh yeah,
Reid wants to
I'm
talk
weeping
about
over here, mate. I'm
I
just
wanna holler at you, Reid.
despondent
I
over
just
here.
want to try and
Yeah.
like talk to you about the three beneficial mutations you brought up. Let's talk about nylon
Sure.
A's. Yeah, nylon
Yeah, sure.
A's. Would you believe that I just started eating real maple syrup instead of the fake corn syrup? Oh no!
I don't
Would you
know.
believe that if I started eating another thing, it doesn't really matter?
He invented the latest version.
That's
Hey, guess
the
what? Some people
worst
say it
analogy
works
I've
too.
ever heard
No,
in
look,
my
hey,
life.
Reid,
So this is
hey, Reid.
this is
Yo,
if you were
Reid,
incapable of
listen up,
eating
Reid. Did
something
you know
else,
some people
and then
are not
suddenly your
lactose
biology
intolerant, right?
changed so you
Hey,
could,
Mike,
and your
did you know
genetic
some
code
people aren't
changed so
quite
you
lactose
could.
intolerant,
So
right?
that is like the worst analogy I've ever heard in my
Mark,
life, because
do you
that
like New
bacteria,
Zealanders at least? Do you at least like
that
New Zealanders?
bacteria was
Hey, Mark, do you at least like New
unable
Zealanders,
to
bro?
eat nylon before
Reid,
that,
tell me
whereas
for
you
reals.
are able
Do
to
you
eat
like New
the other
Zealanders,
thing. So
bro?
that is
He
a
doesn't
terrible
care.
analogy.
He doesn't care.
Do you like New
about the
Zealanders,
mutation.
Mark Reid? Do you like New Zealanders?
Fine.
Some
Let's
of
talk
them.
about that.
I mean, it
'Cause
depends
I'll
who
let
you're
you, I'll
talking
let you
about.
escape to that question.
We
I mean,
are
I'm not a
so
huge fan
far
of Ray
off
Comfort,
topic.
I'll be honest with you.
Is
Yeah, I know.
I ain't
that a
See,
snark topic?
Science is just afraid of the topic. He just doesn't want to
No,
go
I
to the
already
topic.
told
He's
you
just
the
scared.
identity of
No,
God
it's
doesn't
okay,
matter, and
Bobby.
I'll tell
It's
you
okay,
why.
Bobby.
I'm gonna
It's all right,
interrupt you
buddy.
both.
It's
I'm gonna
okay.
interrupt you both.
Oh, they're
You
there.
do
They're
not
there.
need to
No,
know.
no,
No, listen, guys.
Oh,
just
I
do it.
don't.
no.
All right, I'll give my minute at the
What's
end.
gonna
That's
happen now is we're gonna let Mark say like a final thing. We're gonna switch into site. We're bringing in another Christian for C Science to talk to, and then after that version of 10 minutes, we're going to let C Science have his final. He's been on for so long, and we're gonna bring in the Muslim apologist. Stilette, the StreamYard is not closed. We just give partiality to people who disagree with us. If this is call me skeptical, the more you disagree with us, the higher priority you get and the more time you get. So
Yeah, that's fair.
And so with that, Mark,
It's the topic of the type of show it is.
with that, we have been calling me skeptical occasionally about the Abrahamic God. I love you. Send in love. You should be checking out youtube.com/MarkReidAtheism. What are your final thoughts?
Yeah, so I've just interrupted C Science when he goes off on some stupid tangent that does nothing to do with anything that we've discussed. If he wants to bring it back to nylon A's, the only time he brought it back was to give some stupid analogy that, oh, if I eat something different, then I've mutated, like I've suddenly changed. No, but you couldn't eat that thing before, so the analogy
what if they
just doesn't work.
speciated
It's a
into
false
them?
analogy.
I mean, you believe.
Yeah, so if you could just let me have my time to speak,
Oh, I'm
which
sorry,
you
you're right.
seem to be incapable of doing. Yeah, so sea salty is just, he's got a ton of salt over basically people insulting his god and being mean to his god. So he'll do this thing where he'll just fill the air with noise, and nobody can have a decent conversation. But this is why he's talking in bad faith, because he doesn't want to have an actual conversation about anything. He wants to just talk and basically stop the conversation. And I mean, to be honest, I do admit I've enjoyed myself immensely. But that's no way you actually get to communicating and get to the truth. You actually have a conversation where you let the other person speak. And I hope this shows C Science why we don't do this to one another, because you don't have a conversation. But he's not interested in the conversation. He's just a troll. So if I could just have my time to speak, thanks, C Science. See, he's incapable of shutting his mouth because he doesn't want people to be able to say the truth. He wants to silence them. And that's all this is. He just wants to silence people that disagree with him. Okay, I'm done. I'm done.
I didn't kick him. No, here he is.
Oh, is he back?
Yeah, I'm done.
Thank you so very much, Mark. Lovely having you on as always.
Always a pleasure, Amy. Thank you, James. And thank you, C Salty.
Drive crazy, Mark.
Try and
Stay cheeky, baby. I know you're not mad at all or anything. I know how many times you said that must be true. I know you're not mad because how many times you said it, right?
This is fun.
See you, dude. Did he say why I was wrong about nylon A's? No.
But this also,
yeah, he did.
No, he didn't.
This is the last part. This is the last
interaction.
C Science. We eventually have to let you go for all the time you've been giving us. So we're sending you love. But Disciple Day, lovely to have you on. Lovely to have you part of the skeptic and ranting community. But the time is yours.
Thank you. It's a privilege. I appreciate being on. Yep. I'm the resident dummy, so that's my claim. This is not a joke. This is not a joke. I had to Google Steel Man. You guys were Steel Man. I'm like, who is this Steel Man?
See, but we all had.
I had to
probably at
last
one
time I was
point.
on the show, man. She came at me with
So-
the Steel Man
So
thing.
you have to forgive me, but one thing I found real fascinating about the debate you guys are having is it almost seems like you should be on the opposite sides. Like, I heard that's why I had some questions for C Science, because he took an objection I heard at one point to the scientific expression that the universe came from nothing. Did I hear you say that? Seaside?
Absolutely. I absolutely object to the idea that the universe came from nothing.
Okay.
Now, do you think that's a straw man of the argument? Because if you think that it didn't really come from nothing. I mean, now you're a theist, right?
I'm a Christian specifically.
So you're a theist then too.
Yes.
If you're okay. So the universe came from God. That's something.
Well,
yeah. I mean,
yes,
so are you?
do
you believe in the Big Bang? Okay.
Well, yeah, I believe
in a way. Okay, good. So now I know where you're at. Okay.
No, I don't.
So do you believe that the Bible allows for belief in evolution?
Can I share what I was going to share? Or?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I see an expression in the Bible where God creates the universe with his word, which is visibly nothing. And then if you want to look in Hebrews, it says, by faith we understand the entire universe was formed at God's command, and that what we now see did not come from anything that can be seen. So I would expect someone who is
in the beginning there was God.
Yeah, in the beginning.
Crack open your Genesis verse 1, chapter 1, the very first thing in the Bible.
Yeah, I'm not saying God didn't exist.
Oh, okay. So there was something there then, huh?
Yes, but
okay. So the Big Bang Theory is not coherent with the Bible, then, is it?
No,
no, it's not. No.
Yes, it is.
Especially the one that they're pushing.
Listen.
Okay.
The Big Bang Theory. Maybe I don't know it well enough.
Okay, probably not.
Can you explain it simply to me?
Absolutely. It's the belief that there was there's this dark matter, right? Now you have, in the beginning, it was created by a Catholic priest, which was basically the first Big Bang Theory. It was come up by a Catholic priest came up with it. It's an expansion theory of the
universe. Can you explain what it is simply?
Absolutely.
Well, okay.
Do you want me to explain the expansion concept of the universe?
Just explain the Big Bang Theory simply, or can someone else? If he can't, Amy, can you?
Sure, I'll explain it to you. They believe that there was antimatter and matter, and that there was slightly a little bit more than matter than antimatter, and it slowly came into existence and expanded. But here's the thing: they also believe that a universe was populated with Big Bang materials, which is basically hydrogen and Big Bang elements. These element gases, right? But they believe that this matter traveled and expanded and populated the universe faster than the speed of light. How much faster than the speed of light? Well, we look at the universe now, and we say that the visible universe, or the known universe, is about 95 billion light years across. Yeah. So we look out and we see 13.7, apparently, or we used to. Now we don't know. Like I was saying, with the Webb telescope, we're seeing further now. So like they don't know when it really started.
That's more complex than I can follow. But I think what you're saying
I don't see how it is, because I'm using really simple terms. So
well, I didn't sound that bright.
So let me go back to my question. No, since I answered yours, do you think that evolution fits into the Bible? Are you a biblical evolutionist? Because that cannot exist, and then I think you're fake.
Well, let him answer.
But can I? Okay. Again, I think you're using. I think we're talking different languages, and so I think you calling me fake is quite absurd.
I think we're talking the same exact language. It's English.
I'm saying that
maybe you have
the Bible says.
Words.
I'm saying the Bible says that God created the universe out of nothing that was seen.
The Bible says God created the universe out of nothing that was seen. Well, then would you say that he used material energy or some kind of energy?
How would I know?
Well, maybe the Bible tells you so.
Well, it doesn't.
Doesn't it say that all the energy, power, and belongs to God? That's God. It's the spirit.
That all the energy and power belongs to God.
All the energy, power, and authority belong to God.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
What's that? I still don't understand what that has to do with the Big Bang Theory.
In the Big Bang Theory, the first thing that's created is what? Energy, right?
Again,
so they
I'm
get all
learning
this
the theory
energy
from
for
you, let's
absolutely
say.
free. Here's the problem with the Big Bang Theory, okay? Is that they're getting all this energy for absolutely free. Now, what's a simple principle of science that we all
Is
know?
the Big Bang Theory, does the Big Bang Theory make an explicit statement there is no God? It
absolutely does not. In fact,
Okay, so-
in fact, there's an epic called Planck Time, or the Planck epic, some people refer to, which is a hypothetical epic. It's like the time before time, but it's not time at all because time didn't exist yet. It's just this belief, man. It's nothing. There's no math to it.
I still don't understand the conflict. But you're talking about with saying that if we were to look in the natural
conflict
world,
with the Big Bang Theory,
if we were to look at the natural world and what would we expect to see according to the Bible, and it seems like the Bible says what we'd expect to see is a universe created from nothing. Essentially, I'm not saying that's the full story, but that's
no,
what
we would not. We would absolutely not, because like, what did I say?
Yes,
the first verse of Genesis chapter 1 says, "In the beginning there was God."
Okay, but and
God has always existed. He is he's eternal, right?
Yes.
So there's
you're expressing that in the
let
Big
me
Bang
ask you,
Theory.
Disciple Day, is nothing impossible with God?
Well, apparently a beneficial mutation is, according to you.
No, listen to me. Is nothing impossible with God? If God's always existed, then is nothing impossible? If something's eternal, then nothing can never
asking,
be.
But I'd be fine with the statement.
No, I think you do know what I'm
asking.
I think you're avoiding it.
I'm not. I make the statement nothing's impossible with God, but I think you're avoiding it because you said a beneficial mutation was impossible with God.
No, I didn't say that a mutation is impossible to benefit an organism. What I said was, and if I could say it more clearly, now that Mark Reid's not here and he can't interrupt me, is that the beneficial mutations that they claim to be beneficial to the organism are just neutral mutations that happen to benefit the organism, and that these mutations cannot possibly account for the creation of the anatomy that we see in living organisms today. That the functional anatomy that we see must have been designed, that when we look at the genome, that we see these systems set up that allow for this anatomy to be. If we ever see an additional of anatomy in a living form, it's always something that already existed on that form.
You're over my head again, but to me it seemed like you were arguing that there weren't beneficial mutations. But if you are,
what I'm saying is they're all neutral mutations that happen to benefit an organism at the time. But that these beneficial mutations that were named can in no way account for what we see in nature. And the reason that is because the number of beneficial mutations that would take to create an eye that would have to be continuous and compounded all at once.
I'm not talking about an eye.
Right. Well,
you're
talking about life in general.
No, I misunderstood because I thought before you were saying that it seemed like you were arguing against beneficial mutations. If you're not, we have no problem.
Hang on, Disciple. I might have to leave you. A C-Squirt just fell out of bed. I'll be right back.
Well, he was Disciple Day, but this is what they do. They do a goalpost shift. So they come out and they say there are no beneficial mutations. And then when you show them some, they pivot to, oh, well, you think that kind of mutation could explain the diversity of life on Earth, or you think that type of mutation could turn something from an earthworm into a whale. So that they shift the goalposts when you hold their feet to the fire and you show them that, but the script doesn't change. So C Science will be on another stream tomorrow. He'll be saying there are no beneficial mutations, even though we've shown that there are, but the script will never change. He'll just admit that there are when he's shown some, and then give us an argument from incredulity when he says that, well, yeah, I don't think that could ever amount to the change that we see, which he's not giving you evidence why that can't happen. He just doesn't believe it.
Well, I'm glad you clarified that, because I was I was really disappointed in myself for not following well enough earlier, because I thought that's what he was saying. And
what Titan has up here, they're not beneficial. They're neutral that benefit the organism, which is the amount of logic involved in that is, I don't even know.
Well, that's like if you're saying there's no absolute truth, right? He's saying that there's no absolute good for beneficial. How do you determine beneficial? I think that's what he's saying. So they're just everything's neutral. It just might be pleasant neutral versus unpleasant neutral. Is that right? That's what he's saying?
I wouldn't give him that much credit even.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean,
he's not like a serious person. He's more of like a debate clown, like a side chat brawler who we've coaxed. Amy's lured him onto the live streams.
yeah.
And when he comes back, I'm going to read him a super chat, or you're going to read him a super chat, and then I'll let you say or ask whatever your final question or two is, Disciple Day, because we're going to let C Science have his final, and then we're going to see if we can lure anyone in or wrap up the show. One or the other.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
It's been a while since you've been on, Chris. How's that grandbaby doing? That
3 months old. Fantastic. Thank you for asking. Beautiful and healthy and amazing.
Double congratulations.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Well, it was some of the interesting. I mean, again, I'm just so fascinated sometimes by these arguments, because it like one thing I find really interesting is looking at I'll say the appearance of evolution, not to hurt Seaside's feelings. I'm not being sarcastic. I mean, I don't want to hurt his feelings, but the appearance of evolution, it matches so much what I would expect to see when looking at what I would call creation. Like when I think of creation, I can't, it's hard for me to imagine like how God would do it. I know James or someone was asking, or maybe it was you, was asking, Seaside, like, how would God do it? And I go, well, that's really hard to think of, because listen, if we're talking about God, we have to make an assumption he's somehow above us, right? I don't mean literally physically,
sure.
And so that's hard to do, but I can look kind of below me and get in the picture. So like I look at human creation, because we're creators. There's no doubt we're not going to sit here and argue, do humans create things? And I see several things that show me like we create things that tend to, in one sense, increase in complexity over time, right? There are ways in which they can decrease in complexity as well, but like the computer of today obviously is far more advanced than the abacus or early computing machines. A car is more complex than a horse-drawn carriage. So things increasing in complexity is something of creation, right? And another really interesting thing about creation is like things can run out of usefulness, and then they kind of just become bones, right? Like I don't have a landline anymore. I don't know if that's common everywhere, but
I think probably most people don't. Yeah.
So
I haven't had one in a long time.
Once we got the cell phones, the old phones went extinct. That's because that's what creation does, right? That's what we do. And like another thing that's interesting is like creation's adaptive, because like a house in Alaska doesn't look like a house in Florida. They're built differently. Like they're built to survive and do their task in their environment, right? Because that's how humans create things, and like things are matching pieces, right? So like an airplane and a computer and my house will all have certain parts that are identical to each other. So that, that's like an idea of human creation, is that they'll share common parts. They'll also have like matching code. Like, so my computer and the scanner at Walmart and every place that has code in it, they share some common code. Now you can have different operating systems, but you know what I mean? So it's like I always wonder when people are arguing and say, well, I view creation. I understand what they're saying, because I'm a Christian, but then we express so poorly what creation would look like. We know what creation looks like. We know what it looks like to have an intelligent creator. Things increase in complexity over time. Things go extinct. Things are built to adapt to their environment and be in their environment. Things have matching parts with other things.
So you can see in almost a theistic evolution.
Well, listen, there's no other way to view human creation, right? This is the way it looks. And so I look at evolution and I go, that looks a lot like the way it is when we make things. See, I mean, right? And it does.
What Disciple Day is not doing, he's not putting his God in a box and saying
Mhm.
and chaining
Yeah,
God
yeah,
to
he's
a
not bound
literal
by the Bible at all, is
interpretation
he?
of Genesis.
Yeah, I heard.
Well,
I caught the last half of what Disciple Day had to
yeah,
And I
say.
am by
there are ways to
and
read
So,
Genesis not
Disciple Day, you do
literally.
realize that the Bible explains that God created all the animals in 6 days, and man.
of
Like it
course I'm
flat out
familiar.
says that. So I don't think
Of course I'm familiar with
and
the
that
creation account.
Jesus himself believed the scriptures, and if you call yourself a Christian, then you must also believe at least the teachings of Jesus, even if you don't live your life like Jesus or try to attain that level that Jesus did. You must at least believe the teachings of Jesus, and that was that the scriptures were absolute truth.
Well, I also believe Jesus
Oh,
when he said by our fruit. Doesn't he say it's
by
by
the
our
fruit you'll
fruit
know
we
it's
will
by fruit.
recognize
Wasn't that
who's the
Paul or something?
Christians?
I don't know. Anyway, but
I
here's the
know.
thing. Here's the thing.
certainly
Here's
does.
this thing. Here's this thing, Disciple Day. I don't think that the evolution narrative fits into the Bible. So I think what you're pushing here is something that's outside of the Bible, something that's falling outside of the Bible. It's fine that you're a creationist that believes in evolution, but that's what you are.
That's not what I
Now,
said. I didn't
if
said
you
it.
also
I
like
never
the
said such
teachings
a
of
thing.
Jesus, now if you also like the teachings of Jesus, that's fine too. But you do not have a biblical philosophy because it
That's
falls outside of the Bible. Now, I challenge you to find a way that my philosophy falls outside of the Bible.
absolutely,
Sure,
absolutely.
sure.
You have
Go for it.
limited God to your understanding.
Absolutely. And here's my
outside of the
understanding.
Bible.
Now, hang on now, Day. Before you give me some kind of criticism, let me criticize you a little bit more.
You
When I was
asked me for
talking
the
to you in the
Well, no,
first
you
place, we were
let him
talking about the
say
Big Bang
something.
Theory, James. Hang on.
You
We were
asked
talking
me
about
for
the Big Bang Theory. I was talking to you about a principle of science that's simple. Do you believe energy can be created?
Are you asking me?
Yeah. Do you believe energy can be created? Because that's a scientific principle that energy cannot be created or destroyed, right? So is energy eternal?
I don't think that's the claim.
What's the claim? The claim is the
He's
Big
a
Bang is that
Christian.
nothing that energy became out of nothing.
God can
So they have
create
the idea
energy
that
if there's a
energy was
God.
all the energy in the universe that became the matter came
I'm-
from nothing. And I'm telling you that that's against a simple principle of science that we all know. So unless you can add it up to me, or unless you give me the math on it and explain it to me on how exactly all the energy was created in the universe from nothing, then I'd say that the Bible has a better theory that's more scientific than the Big Bang theory if it comes to
Yeah.
So
Okay,
before
are you
res-
saying if I were to you just answer a simple question, just honestly and simple and directly? See, science, if I just a simple question. Do you think God created energy out of something?
No, I
Yes
think
or no?
energy is eternal.
No.
You misunderstand me.
Okay.
I think energy is an eternal thing. I don't think
before
energy can be created or
Disciple,
destroyed. It's a
before
simple
you even
principle of science.
respond,
Go ahead.
because you
Sorry.
can respond to the super chat yourself, though it's aimed at Sea Science. A $10 super chat, sending love from Peebo. How?
What's
How,
hilarious?
how,
What's
how?
hilarious? What's hilarious
on,
is that the
jeez.
U.S. society actually grooms the majority of the people to become atheists. So his is based on a
That is a
misconception in the
conspiracy
first place.
theory.
His
And
question
we
is
already
based
went
on a
over this, Sea
misconception.
Science. We already went over this. You were groomed into your religion. How does the American education system produce people who lack such knowledge and lack of understanding? Sea Science is just spouting words. Are they a parrot in disguise? Now you can respond, but I do have to read the question.
How does the American education system produce people who lack such knowledge and lack of understanding? Well, first of all, that sentence has plenty of grammar problems. Let me point that out first. How does the American education system produce people who lack such knowledge and lack of understanding? Maybe you're missing a word there.
You really
Sea
should
Science is
become a
just spouting
politician.
words. Are they a parrot in disguise? Oh my God. See, his thing starts with insanity and ends with hilarity. That's what I say about his $10 question. Thank you, P-Bot, for donating to the cause. You know, we're gonna have these discussions. We're gonna have this banter late into the evening. I'm gonna go until, I don't know, 6 a.m. here. It's already 3:34. So
well, thank
Let's
you,
do it.
Peebo, for all the love and support. We really appreciate it and really helps out. Though, Disciple Day, I'm going to give you an outro, and then Sea Science, we're going to give you an outro.
Well, can I say something to Disciple Day before he does his outro? Basically,
Yeah,
my
in
idea
fact,
is that
we're going to do, actually, actually, I'm going to interrupt 1 second, and then we're going to do this opposite. Maybe we should let C Science have his outro while he's talking, and then we'll let Chris have his outro.
All right, and I'll peace out.
Yes.
I'll peace out, and then Disciple Day can have his part. Got it. All right, listen. My whole thing, first of all, with the beneficial mutations, like I said, I think I already clearly said that what they stated doesn't add up to what we would need to explain all the animal forms we have now. As far as that goes, the nylon A's, it just ate something else. If it was due to general mutation, well, hey, guess what? There's people that can eat cow milk too. Oh, anyway, as far as our thing was concerned, we were talking about energy, okay? Energy, or that's what I was talking about when it came to the Big Bang, because we said it came from nothing. Well, I believe that energy is eternal, okay? I believe that all energy belongs to God. I believe God is eternal. I believe that energy cannot be created or destroyed. I believe that's a simple principle of science that everybody should know if you've taken a physics class, a basic physics class. Anybody that's taken a basic physics class knows that energy cannot be created or destroyed. So the atheists, don't worry about it, Amy. The atheists have all that energy for absolutely free, and then it populates the entire early universe in a single instant, traveling infinitely faster than the speed of light, populating a universe that's over 90 billion light years across that we know about. It's definitely much bigger than that. What if the universe goes on forever, guys? And it's expanding.
Yeah, what if?
What if it does? Well, then it
Maybe
ruins
it
the
does.
Big Bang Theory. That's what.
Not at all.
Yes, it absolutely does. Because they believe in an edge. Yes, they do, James. How doesn't it? They believe in an edge of the universe.
We don't know.
That's what we're facing now. Yeah, we don't know. You're right.
No, we don't know.
I agree.
So, yeah.
It's a wonderful thing.
It's
So anyway,
admitting when you don't know something. Yeah,
my thing is that energy cannot be created or destroyed, so energy must be eternal. I believe that there are eternal things, and my philosophy allows for eternal things, but a person that believes in a Big Bang from nothing does not allow for eternal things. I believe that with God, nothing is impossible, okay? Or nothing is impossible with God. I think that statement works on multiple levels. I think you can apply it to multiple things. I think that evolutionists believe in Sasquatch animals that lived a long time ago, and I'm going to get to talk about that a little bit, and that really excites me. Because I know so much about that subject, it'd blow your minds. And if you guys let me come on here one night after this debate, maybe I'll talk to you about these fossils and we can really talk about AL666. AL666. Look it up. It's a real fossil find.
C Science in the middle of your outro. We got to hold on. C Science, I'm going to interrupt you. C Science in the middle of your outro. We got a $2 super chat from Big Bad Mama. C Science, why do you believe in Noah's Ark?
Because there were so many sea animals lost when so many land animals made it that shouldn't have. How about that for an answer? And that's all I got for your $2. If you want more, you got to ask a $50 question, right, Amy? Get it, baby. Get it, James.
So much
Get that
love
money,
to both C Science, Disciple Day, and Big Bad Mama. Thank you so much.
No, if I hang out, I better get a free show like I was promised to come on here. I'm telling you.
A free show.
You and all right. After the show, we got.
We know
that's why you want to come on here, C Science. It's okay. We won't tell Kent.
I got.
Question is,
no,
which
Kent's
one
probably
of us
watching
is
this
going to
right
be
now,
working
laughing
the
his
poll?
ass off at you guys. Yeah, I was texting him right now, telling him about the show.
He's looking up pictures of whale dicks right now.
I would not be surprised. He's probably like, "Why do they
you guys?
get to have a channel?"
It's not my fault. You guys believe whales are even-toed animals. I'm saying.
His wife is in bed. He's on his phone looking up whale dicks, hoping she doesn't wake up.
They have legs.
Evolution theory has
evolved from even-toed ungulates because they have the actual bones. Why are the bones there? You know what?
They do not have toe bones. Go on. They don't have toe bones.
Tail bones.
Toe bones. Toe bones. They're even-toed ungulates, right? They're supposed to be even-toed animals. They don't have toes. So you see the theory of evolution.
Why do they have legs?
Pelvis.
The theory of evolution has ruined the animal classification system. It's ruined phylogeny.
Why do
it really has.
It's the basis of everything.
No, listen. If whales are even-toed animals, they don't have legs.
No,
they are related. They don't have feet.
You know there are odd and even-toed ungulates.
Listen, but if you don't
completely different categories.
But Amy, if you don't have feet, you don't have toes. Am I right? Like put toes on your ears, put toes on your elbows. They wouldn't be called toes.
But you see, this is what I mean by you act like a politician. You won't
But
answer
I'm
the
not.
question.
No, I'm just right all the
because
time.
if you
Holen.
answered the question, it
can't
would
wait to see that Big
show
Bad Mama.
that you were wrong. Send love, Big
I
Bad
know
Mama
that's
does
what
a lot
you
of great
believe,
content.
honey.
Because this is what you'd have to say. You would have to say you'd either have to say I have no idea why they're there. That's an honest answer. I'd accept it. Or you'd have to say because it kind of looks like they came from an animal that used to have legs.
What, the bones in the pelvis that Ken always talks about?
The legs, pelvis.
You know they're
legs.
for holding up the genitalia.
No,
Because
they're not.
Amy should know. I know what she's been
The
looking at.
15-foot whale.
I
penis.
know. I know. I know
long
what
is
you've
it?
been
How
looking
big
at
is
on
it,
the
C
internet.
Signs?
You-
Tell us.
Amy.
Tell us. Say it, C Signs. How big is a whale junk? Please. Tell
Oh,
us.
I don't know. I don't look at him. James, why don't you tell me, buddy?
Oh no! You see, we
You
learned
have
this.
watched every
We
Ken
learned-
Hoven
I
video
know.
hundreds of times. Hundreds
No,
of
I
times,
have
C
not.
Signs.
Listen. I
Yes, you
do.
have.
I have watched part
You
of his
listen to
seminars.
Ken Hoven
though.
when you're in the shower.
No, listen,
You have him
James.
playing
Now,
when
first
you're
of all, let me correct
sleeping.
you on your misconception. I have not watched every one of Ken Hovine's videos. He has thousands and
Hundreds of
thousands of
times.
videos.
Hundreds of
I've
times.
watched part of his seminar. It's pretty decent. This guy is smart. He's smart. You can't beat him
Really?
in a debate. This guy proved the Earth was young and debated against you. He's so smart.
He's
That's
never proved
crazy.
the Earth was young.
Okay, all right.
And
Yeah, I
okay,
mean, he didn't talk about the magnetosphere or anything with you, right, James? Or about the moon
About
or
the
the
moon,
magnetosphere.
that's
No, the
been debunked. That's
magnetosphere.
been
Yeah.
debunked.
Yeah, you know, the magnetosphere is decreasing. We're about to all get killed by radiation and get way more
The Earth's
cancer
magnetic
because of
field goes in
Any
mutation.
day now.
cycles. It goes in
Any
cycles.
day, baby.
I actually have heard there is actually a way that you could actually prevent it from happening. So if you go to your store and you go
Tinfoil.
down the aisle and you go and you get Royals wrap, now listen, just hear me out. You gotta layer
Wrap it up.
okay? It's about
You
the
gotta wrap your
layers.
tool, baby.
Exactly.
You gotta wrap it up. Stay
But
safe.
see, science, I did interrupt you last 30 seconds, but then you've been on a while, so we got.
I think I'm fine. I guess for the last 30 seconds, I'll actually bring it to the title of the video. You know, the Abrahamic God. The identity of God doesn't really matter in the creation versus atheist debate. I think that you can believe in God and never read the Bible. I think that's proven because there's so many different religions that believe in a creator God. They've never read the Bible. To finish my 30 seconds, I don't think that you need to believe in water, but you still need it. I don't think you need to believe in water or nor the name of it to believe in it and need it. I don't think you need to believe in water to be destroyed by it. So even if you chose to not believe in water and you were around it your entire life because you needed it and you decided, I'm not going to believe in it, I'm not going to call it water because I don't want to call it water,
time.
you still need it. See you later. It's been
Thank
great,
you
guys.
so
Thanks for
very
that.
much.
I'll wait around till the
Science.
end, though.
It's been a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
listen to what Disciple Day has to say.
And all right, Disciple Day,
Thank you.
we are handing it to you. We have been calling me skeptical on the Abrahamic God. It's been lovely having you
Thanks
on.
for
Lovely
having me
having you
on.
part of the community. And what are your final thoughts?
Thank you. Well, forgive me if I didn't do well earlier and trying to explain what I thought, but sometimes it's
You're
that
doing
way.
fine.
I honestly have to be the American education didn't fail me, but I failed it. The education system, I wasn't a good student, and oh well.
Same
But
with me.
it for me, I'm just going to share my heart if that's okay. It really breaks my heart that people who carry the name of my God, I know you guys don't believe this, but please understand this is coming from my heart, would act in such a way that wouldn't draw people to him. I mean, it just, and I'm not saying that there was something that could have been done that would have, but I really believe that what I'm taught by God through the Bible is that I'm supposed to, above all, put on a love and always express myself in love, and that with love and truth, we can really do this thing. So forgive my phrasing. And again, I was personally a little hurt because, I was accused of not being a Christian and accused of not knowing the word of
Not
God.
by me. I didn't accuse you of not being Christian. Not to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
But
don't
you can
interrupt,
be a
please.
Christian, but I'm just saying you're one that's not a biblical Christian. Like, you can believe in the teachings of Jesus, you know, and that's fine. But what you're doing is rejecting the actual Bible itself. That's all. That's all. That was
Yeah.
my point.
Yeah, we'll disagree there, and I thank you for coming in on that. But because I do
Well,
believe
the Bible does say it
I-
was created in 6 days.
yeah, I don't believe I'm
He's
disagreeing.
just in the back.
I don't think I'm disagreeing with the Bible, and we could talk about that another time. I'm actually talking about the way things appear. And so when the Bible says in Hebrews 11:3 again that he made it out of nothing that can be seen, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying, I'm admitting I don't know the Big Bang well enough to actually take a stance on it. I don't know evolution well enough to actually, I mean, I'm not a scientist. I read these things and I look, but I'm who am I? You know, so I don't know. But what I do know is that what I said earlier, in that I look at human creation and I go, wow, well, that makes a lot of sense, because the things I see in this world look a lot like the things we make in this world. And so that means something to me. And I look at what is said in the Bible about the beginnings, and they seem to make sense to me. And, you know, so I'm just here. And like I said, I believe Jesus, that if I put love above all, and, you know, I love you, James, love you, Amy, I really feel privileged to be on here. It's certainly not my right.
Love you right back.
Thank you. And
Thanks, Chris.
and if I love you guys, and at least you know when you talk to me that you're getting what I believe. I'm not trying to be fake or just win an argument. You know, I'm sharing what I believe. And like I said, I think it's just fascinating to me sometimes the way we as Christians can fight on a path that's really not ours to fight. I just think the things that you guys are talking about, meaning you atheists, and expressing the way you see the world through evolution, fits so well. Again, I'm not talking about evolution versus the creation story. That's another topic altogether. But I'm saying, boy, you know, I think I made a little point, at least here, Amy and James, saying when we look at human creation and we look at evolution, there are some similarities. You know, with things growing in complexity over time, things going extinct, things that are created to adapt their environment. All these things are hallmarks of human creation. I'll end with this, because this is important to me as a Christian. One thing we know is things we create have purpose. We create things for a purpose, for our utility or our pleasure. That's why we create things. So I may create a piece of art just for the pleasure of it, and I may create a machine to serve me. But we don't create things for the creator, for the creation. We create them for the creator. And if that's true for us, it might be true for God. And that would mean that God created us for for him. And so it takes away a lot of the arguments, because we don't have to wonder why this or why this, because ultimately when we create things, we create them for our purpose and he creates them for his. I believe that. And I do believe he's a loving God. We could talk about that another time. I absolutely do. But again, my hope here is that I always show you guys love. Forgive me if I ever fail.
Not at all.
You've always shown us love.
Gentlemen.
All right. Well, thank you.
We hope you feel the exact same way here.
I do. I really enjoy being here. I consider you guys friends, and forgive me if that's too intrusive, but
not at all.
Not at all. No, not at all.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so very much. And Disciple, have a fantastic rest of your night.
You too. Say hi to the cats for me.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, James Wolfe. That is that's a Christian who actually takes it to heart, and you can tell the difference, because there are not everything in Christianity is bad. We tend to focus on the bad parts of it, or the parts we don't like, but it's not fair to say every single aspect of it is bad, and there are good aspects of it. And Christians like Disciple Day, they take those positive teachings to heart, and yeah, that's good.
It is lovely having Chris. It is lovely having Beamsy. It is lovely having. We have numerous theists that are skeptics. That has nothing to do with it It is CC Science. And CC Science, you can stay behind there, and we'll go. If we go after show, you can stay behind and we'll talk. But Kathy, yes, you can come in. You'll probably be. You have permission. Oh my! Have you been? I was gonna say, hopefully,
he did all his chores.
But they'll probably be the last. I know the Muslim apologist is on. I know Ultimated come on. But James, isn't it? It is our rule of thumb. It happens every time. They're on and they're gone.
Well, we do need to set up a stream with Ultimated. I think
we
maybe
are
he
creating
wanted
a
to
debate.
do that this stream, but we do plan on having a more formal debate with him soon. I guess
I want to have more debate me bras. And all right, let's get Kathy on, and then they're probably going to be our last one.
Well, Amy's actually doing that right now. Well, she's got other people to do that for her, but
oh my, that's right.
Pantsless apologist.
That's right. I have two very specific people working down here below the belt, which is Gavin and Iron, both who have been caught on camera. Pantsless, yes.
While debating for their
the Christian God, yes. Well, God, because Iron isn't a Christian; he is like a pagan something. But they're both. But yes, let's bring on Kathy, because we are calling me skeptical on the Abrahamic God.
That's right.
Woo! What is up, Kathy? Welcome on board. And we are having fun. We're calling us skeptical on the Abrahamic God. Hope you're well. What are your thoughts?
No, I've been watching throughout, and I think I caught the episode from the very beginning. I saw your interaction with Sea Lads. You guys? Oh, go ahead, James.
What do you think about it?
Well, I could see where he was coming from, even though he was mostly, kind of a trollish in a way. But I think he did have a point, and from what I got out of him was more like he was more so scientism than science, I would say, because he seemed somewhat familiar, not completely familiar, but he wasn't totally out of the loop. And science, are you familiar with scientism?
Scientism generally is an insult gets thrown at us when we tend to use science as our methodology for finding fact from fiction. That is when I hear it the most. It goes hand in hand with presentism when we talk about Muhammad and a wife or two.
Well, a lot of times we've had some Christians, they'll use the phrase like, oh, when we call them out for God of the gaps, and they'll accuse us, well, you guys have naturalism of the gaps because they fill their gaps with God, in knowledge with their God, and we use science to propose answers to the questions we don't currently know.
Yeah, that would be the flip side of the coin, I suppose. Because you could put it one way where you think, you lack, just because science hasn't figured everything out, the gaps that are left is where theists might put God, and then vice versa. The theist might say that you can't explain everything away with naturalism. So I could see that. I mean, it's
But I don't think we explain anything away with naturalism.
Well, no, I mean, I think they mean it like in an ultimate sense. Like, the naturalism of the gaps is trying to say that the assumption is that eventually everything will be
a naturalistic answer.
Yeah, everything will be naturalistic, and there would be no need for God to explain anything.
Well, Here's the thing, though. So in the past, when we didn't know nearly as much as we know today, God was used as an explanation for all sorts of things that we now know today. We have a naturalistic, so they don't use God for that anymore. And those gaps in our knowledge, they continue to dwindle down less and less. And there still are gaps, but we would propose that based on the past, based on what we've experienced before, when we do find answers for the current gaps, we should probably expect it to be naturalistic.
We've also had natural answers. We've never had a supernatural, paranormal, whatever we want to call it.
We've never needed to invoke magic.
I agree. If you ever remember me speak, I don't know, we would never hear me say the word supernatural or something that defies the laws of physics, which is how I hear atheists mostly define supernatural as. I even had the opportunity once to ask Matt Dillahunty to define supernatural, and his response was, well, I can't define supernatural because I've never seen I've never seen an example of it.
My going term for supernatural is a PR term, because you can use the word super for anything. You could say, well, supersize me. And you could say, well, hey, the super size used to be 32 ounces of fries. Why is it only 26 ounces of fries? Because we wanted to change it. It's super. We can do whatever we want with it.
Yeah, and I've heard people use supernatural in other ways, like, there's things for which science hasn't maybe come to explain just yet, that it may seem supernatural from our vantage point right now in that sense, but maybe eventually science will have an explanation for it, kind of like Einstein's spooky action at a distance. Maybe you're familiar with that.
Quantum entanglement?
Yeah, quantum entanglement.
Yeah.
That may seem supernatural if you're unaware of quantum entanglement.
Lots of things in the quantum world seem supernatural because we don't fully understand it.
Weird, but I wouldn't say supernatural. They just seem weird.
It might seem like it could be perceived that way, I guess.
Yeah. So in your definition of supernatural, you're saying that something that is completely defying the laws of physics, something that even quantum entanglement couldn't explain, something that just is totally outside the bounds of any explanatory power from any endeavor of science whatsoever, whether be it now.
You mean we don't have an explanation?
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. And what I would say is, towards what James was saying about, there's many instances where we had in the past something that was seemingly supernatural to, like, let's say lightning, for instance, where you might say that it was Zeus getting angry or something like that, and they attributed the lightning to Zeus or thunder or what have you. I take a lot of time studying comparative religion or rainbow. And I don't know if you've ever read into Greek philosophy, like the major philosophers of the time, Plotinus, Plato, Socrates, so on and so forth. They didn't adhere to the Olympian gods. And this is one thing I've noticed with, like, because I debate online and forums sometimes with atheists, and they'll say, like, well, do you believe in Zeus? And, as a kind of like a counter argument, as supposedly, right? And if you actually look into the Greek philosophers, they didn't believe in Zeus. Plato, Socrates, Plotinus, so forth. They rejected the Olympian gods, but that didn't necessarily make them atheist. They still held a kind of conception of the divine, if you will, and they related to it through henosis, which in my studies, I can only find as a kind of a form of contemplation or meditation. And it's what Plato called the good, and what Plotinus would eventually call the one. and it would lay the basis for the Abrahamic God. A lot of the Greek philosophy in that area would lay the basis for what later would be the Christian Godhead. And so that's kind of how I came to see it. I don't see it as the Christian God is basically some kind of a evolved form of like Zeus, where it's like a anthropomorphic entity. And I'm surprised this term came up. I was waiting for it, but Sky Daddy.
So this would be something I'd have to ask Pat for, but there is a difference between someone not believing it and then the Christians now believing it and thinking that this is all real. Because to me, God is a superhero. Like, it's just a dude. Like, the difference between the low G and the big G is just powers. Like, it's just a different power set. There's nothing really different except for the fact that they think they give him the word ultimate and all this stuff. But there's nothing different between Jesus walking on water and turning water into wine and throwing lightning bolts from your hand. Both are superhuman powers that would be considered superheroes in today's modern times. But
well, have you ever heard someone on? There's a guy. He's a friend of Bryce. Bryce Roney. Maybe you've heard of the guy, but James Saunders. He came up with this little Facebook short that he did where he was talking about the Christ and the bread baskets and how the supposed multiplying of the food. So you could either believe that Christ multiplied food in such a way that was supernatural in the sense that you guys are defining it in, or he proposed, what if Christ passed around a basket so that everyone could contribute to everyone having food for that day, and so by the time the basket got around to him, everyone contributed, so now we have food for everyone. Would you consider that more likely?
I would consider that something that goes on every day. So, like,
sure,
I'll take it, but at that point, then he is not a supernatural being. He is not a...
Yeah, well, I mean, my particular take, I don't believe in literally that Christ walked on water or things like that. I really believe that these were, because when I study comparative religion and I look into early Christianity, none of the early theologians or mystics or the Hesychast ascetics or the Cappadocian fathers ever interpreted scripture so literally. They interpreted by analogy and metaphor. And so I'm surprised today that we have such a naive interpretation of religion that a majority of people on this planet have an interpretation that is very literal, including atheists that engage with these very fundamentalist Christians that have literal interpretations. And therefore, this is the theology that the atheist gets. Therefore, they too develop this literal interpretation.
Oh, it's not surprising to me at all.
So they yeah, I mean, it's like George Carlin said one time. He said, most people are fucking dumb. Shall we adopt all their standards?
A great atheist you were quoting. But
that's arguable. He was once cornered by Art Bell in an interview, and he claimed that he wasn't an atheist, but that's probably another debate.
I think George Carlin is a well-known atheist.
You would think so, but I think he played an atheist on stage. I think he played an atheist.
Oh my goodness!
Well,
on
some
TV.
people just don't like the term atheist. There are people who are functionally atheists. They just don't like the term. So
true, but I'm pretty sure George Carlin was one who liked the label atheist.
No, he didn't actually. He kind of despised the label. He didn't like to be boxed in. He thought he said something like, once people group together and they label themselves the same things, then they start wearing the same hats and they start banding together. And he made
that's his sun worshiping bit, but he doesn't actually worship the sun or pray to Joe Pesci.
Yeah, no, I agree. That was part of his stage act. But no, I'm saying off the stage, in actual interviews. I used to be obsessed with George Carlin, by the way. I used to
Oh.
look up every single interview. I mean, I've seen every little transcript of everything he did. I wanted to be a stand-up comedian at one point.
You should be.
But I gave it up like years ago. So I mean, I would debate whether George Carlin was an atheist, but you know, he also talked about the big electron. You know, I don't know what it's out there, but there's something out there. I call it the big electron. You know, maybe you've heard that bit that he did.
Have you heard of the hypothesis that there's only one electron in existence that transports itself back in time?
Yeah, kind of like a higher power kind of thing. That's not labeled God, but there is something there. He put it kind of in that sense. But my point about the Greek philosophers that I think a lot of atheists don't realize is that that you know
Can
that
I just quote George Carlin?
Go ahead.
I want you to know, when it comes to believing in God, I really tried. I really tried to believe there is a God who created each and one of us in his own image and likeness, loves us very much, and keeps a close eye on things. I really tried to believe that. But I got to tell you, the longer you live, the more you look around, the more you realize something is wrong here. War, disease, death, destruction, hunger, filth, poverty, torture, crime, corruption, and the ice-capades. Something is definitely wrong. This is not good work. If this is the best God can do, I am not impressed. Results like these do not belong on the resume of a supreme being. This is the kind of you expect from an office temp with a bad attitude. And just between you and me, in any decently run universe, this guy would have been out on his all-powerful ass a long time ago. Quote, George Carlin from the album You're All Diseased.
Yeah, that was straight from his stand-up bit. You know, if you quote him in an interview, or even his daughter, Kelly Clarkson, Kelly Carlin, she has a bit with I forget his name. He interviewed I can't recall his name, but I'll try to link it after the show. I'll put it in the comment section. But you know, she goes into depth about her dad and atheism and how he didn't really identify with it. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's for another debate, I think.
Indeed. Kathy, maybe about 5 more minutes, and then we're probably going to wrap up here ourselves.
Okay. Well, here's where I think it all comes apart. And I know I've told you guys my position before as a perennialist, as someone interested in mysticism and in altered states of consciousness and in ego death. There's a lot of science today. You can look into the neuroscience of religion today, and they will say that what they're doing with, you know, their psychedelic research, when people have these so-called profound mystical experiences, that they see no distinction from what they're experiencing to what mystics throughout the ages have experienced, to what Plotinus called the one when in a state of hypnosis, what Siddhartha Gautama called nirvana, what the Christian mystics called the beatific vision or the revelation of the Holy Spirit. They find no distinction between. There's no difference. They seem to be parallel across cultures, across religions, and I think religion really has to do with that phenomenon. And I think as long as people ignore it, we're always gonna be attacking religion for the more minute ideas that sprout from it, and without engaging the very core of it. And so I think that's why so many people have this notion of the anthropomorphic entity.
Why do we need if we can get the same thing from psychedelics or meditation or training and practice, why do we need religion?
I think religion historically has been, maybe it's not now. Of course, when you go to church today, people just go to compare their dress to other people's dresses and, for petty things, and they go to listen to a sermon. It's not spiritually based. If you look into early Christianity, you had Christian monks. If you look into hesychasm, you had people engaging in asceticism and these very hardcore spiritual disciplines that would induce these type of experiences. That no longer exists.
There's still Christian monks today, and not as many, but
and the secularizing. Yes, the religious people are no longer caring about the sermon. They are there mostly to check out their clothes. That is something I feel like we have done a successful job in, and I mean that's our handiwork. I don't know what to say. We hope that continues, and one day these churches go out of business.
And so a criticism of today's, Western practices of religion is that spirituality is dried up. And so that's why you see, I think, a lot of people traveling across seas to go to Buddhist temples to meditate, or they'll go to South America to take ayahuasca, because they don't find spirituality in their modern church. And
I also think it's why superhero movies are so big right now, because we have our modern mythology from them.
Doesn't have anything to offer.
Yeah, they have nothing to offer. So, so they find nothing there. So they, that's why they make the trip to Peru or Tibet and so on and so forth. And you see a lot of people doing this today. You see even Hollywood stars doing this today. There's a lot of there was this one from a soap opera. I think I forget which one it was. I don't know if it was The Days of Our Lives. I don't know. I don't think that's the one. But he went to Peru. He tried ayahuasca. When he returned, he quit the show. He said that he felt that what he was doing was in participating in the dumbing down of America. That he didn't want to do it anymore. That he was just engaging in just the perpetuating this kind of idiocracy that Mike Judge talks about, and so I think people are slowly, it's seeping in slowly. But if you go to Netflix today and you type in like DMT, or if you type in mystical experience, you're going to find a lot of documentaries on.
See, but you don't need religion for that. Once again, the reason they take the trip is because it's illegal, and so if we could just legalize it.
Yeah. Now, which group is pushing for a more
legalization
of drugs? That's the religious.
I see where you're coming from. I kind of came from the same avenue. I didn't grow up very religious. I started listening to Terence McKenna, and I was introduced to what's called the heroic dose via Terence McKenna, and I became intrigued from there. It took me about 2 years to actually find someone with mushrooms before I took upon this endeavor myself directly. But once it happened, I saw religion in a very new light. Yes, you don't need religion to have these experiences. You could be an atheist like I was when I had this experience. But when it happened, it drew me towards studying comparative religion. And I became very interested in mysticism. I saw religion as kind of the first, I guess, avenue for historically for people to find these sort of experiences. Maybe now you don't need it. You can go have a psychedelic experience. But if you go have a psychedelic experience willy-nilly without any preparation, and you're just kind of doing it out of a dare, let's say, you may not know what you're getting yourself into.
I think you should be doing a psychedelic with someone that has done it before. Absolutely.
Yes, definitely.
I don't think you need a religious person, but I think you need at least someone that has at least had the experience to pull you out if a bad experience is happening, or just keep you calm, reset your mood, just a whole bunch of good things.
Yes, no, I agree. And you see, though, a lot of teenagers kind of find their way in there without that. And, it is kind of willy-nilly for them. And so when they find themselves in there, they end up having a very negative experience because they had no preparation. I think the first trip you should make is to the internet to inform yourself first. and all the precautions you can take. Then, if you're willing to take upon that endeavor, then do it. But what you see when you mention, Amy, that you should have a trip sitter, this has always been the example in shamanic tribes, or when you go back to Aztecs or the shamans. The shamans were a kind of trip sitter.
So take everything that you like about it and just pull the religion out and just keep the good life-changing experiences that help people think through their problems, maybe think about meaning in life. I'm all for that. It's just I want a natural version of it. I think it is a natural version of it.
Well, I agree with that, but to say like let's cut off religion completely, I didn't end up there. I think the neuroscientists that study this stuff don't really end up there. They emphasize what's called the perennial philosophy, and they see this phenomenon as being pretty much prevalent throughout the core. I'm talking about the origins of the major religions. And so that's why they kind of see
campfires.
Say that again.
Campfires.
Well, I mean, go ahead.
Oh no, that's what it seems to be. It seems to be oral tradition. Just a bunch of people being like, telling stories to each other, and then eventually an asshole had to write it down, and now we have fundies.
Yeah. I think that's what happened. Because what really it is. It's you've probably seen the movie The Giver.
I've read the book.
Yeah, The Giver, I think, is closer to the shamanic example.
They made a movie out of it? Now I need to go see
I think they made a movie out of it. But The Giver is like the shaman, and the recipient that receives the giver's knowledge is not sitting by the campfire listening to this. He's having a direct experience of it. And that's kind of what you get with the psychedelic phenomenon. You have the shaman is there to overwatch you, but he's not there to orally explain what's going to go on. He's just there to protect you from having a bad experience. But you're going to learn yourself through direct experience the very wisdom that he was able to touch inside that phenomenon. And so, it's kind of like
I got someone coming for me. Let's say, well, at least asking a question. What's up, Autobots Starscream? So how do you keep religion out of psychedelic experiences that so naturally lead to it? A fantastic question. I would say that psychedelic experiences for me have been a mixture of either a interesting trip or a trip that has opened my mind to maybe a piece of me that I wasn't paying attention to for. Maybe you were being selfish. Maybe you didn't think about something. You should think about your parents, or things like these sort of experiences, I think, can come from psychedelics. I don't think that they're all slightly different. I was talking about, I think on Randolph Richardson's stream, there's good data to show that if you have depression and there's good results with psilocybin. However, not if you are paranoid. If you are paranoid, it can actually increase your paranoia. However, if you have non-paranoia depression, not DMT, not acid, very specifically psilocybin, can help you. At least the data is showing right now.
I saw they're also using ketamine. Like
that's what Ix was saying.
Small
yes,
doses of ketamine too for depression, anxiety.
And so, it all depends on the drug and what's the situation. But I think you should. The reason why I like psychedelics is because I think everyone should have their brain knocked ajar every few years, and hopefully.
The way you say it, like I want to invite you to where I live, Amy, and I want to dose you myself, because when you say knock the jar, what I think the goal is to be completely obliterated in that experience. Not simply
True heroic dose.
yeah, like that's the goal. I mean, if you're not getting there, then there is
your socks off, Amy.
yeah. Because I think that's the point, and that's always been the point throughout all of history. And the hardest pill to swallow, I think, in all of this is that a lot of hard time that I've had with atheists is trying to convince them that there is a universal phenomenon in consciousness that beyond the detritus of your ego, the detritus of the detritus of your memories, your history, your life experiences. That there is a phenomenon in consciousness that's universal in human beings, that there is a place where you get to where it's no longer about your personal history, and it seems to be synonymous among all human beings, among all cultures, all times, all places. And so we're like,
as in consciousness, it just sounds like I appreciate what you're saying, but it sounds like you're just explaining consciousness, which is, yes, I agree, that is a shared experience that all humans have.
Well, I mean, in consciousness, like right now, in our ordinary state of consciousness, we have very unique experiences in that you're streaming from your particular bedroom. James is in his, I'm in my room. We're all seeing different, very different things and from very different vantage points. What I'm saying is that at an ultimate point, it all becomes one vantage point. And I think that's why the religious vocabulary is invoked, like omniscient.
You're right, because I don't know what you said. Like when you use the word like ultimate reality and things like that, or the ultimate consciousness, or ultimate anything, I'm not really sure, because consciousness is not special. I cannot see any ultimate connection either. I cannot see a collective consciousness. I do not see. What it seems like is consciousness is a mechanism much like digestion. And to put consciousness on any level above digestion, I would need a lot of evidence.
See, I see your skepticism. That's why I think you haven't taken enough.
I don't think that you value consciousness as a medical concept. I think you value it as an arbitrary concept right now.
No, I'm very interested in consciousness. I mean, in all sorts of altered states, whether it be seizure, meditation.
Good. Let's talk about seizures. I have epilepsy. So say you started passing out randomly. What doctor would you visit and why?
If I started passing out randomly?
In fact, let's make it, because that's what happened to me. Let's say you started passing out randomly. You would start off, and then you went to a doctor and they said you're getting seizures. Where would you go? What would you do next?
Well, I don't have health insurance, so I'd probably try to deal with it on my own. But if I did have some kind of condition like that, I would hope that I would have some kind of benefit to see a doctor.
Which doctor?
Maybe a neurologist, maybe something like that.
Why would you visit a neurologist?
Sounded like you said a witch doctor, because you said
Did you say a witch doctor?
No, you.
Okay, but why a neurologist? That seems random.
Well, I do have a son that has agenesis of the corpus callosum, and he does see a very particular specialist. So I'm not sure.
Does he see a bladder specialist?
No, he does. Actually, he does. It is related to the bladder. His condition.
Related. Okay, does he see a stomach doctor?
No.
Why?
His condition is irrelevant to that.
It seems to really affect
right
here.
Yeah, it affects his I know his appendix, but primarily his brain. He's missing the corpus callosum.
I guess what I'm trying to get at is that consciousness seems to really be about a very specific organ.
Sure, and I'm very interested in neuroscience, and like I often say, I've often heard amongst like the psychologists, neuroscientists that I am intrigued by, that many neuroscientists are unaware of the fact that even neuroscience hasn't established that consciousness is generated by the brain. If that's what you're getting at, is that the correlation must tie towards the organ of the brain.
So why would you go to see a neurologist if you were having seizures? That just seems random. There's no correlation to the brain and consciousness. Come on.
Well, no, that's not necessarily
a foot or an ankle specialist.
Yeah, go to a foot specialist.
No, I don't think that's necessarily the argument that they're making there. There's one model that atheists have. Maybe you've heard the analogy of the car factory. So the car factory produces cars. The factory being consciousness in this model, and if you destroy the factory, then the cars will stop being produced. Ergo, you seize consciousness. Consciousness dwindles out. It dies out. It blinks out. That's one model. But there's another model. Maybe you've heard of the radio tuner or the radio analogy, where consciousness is more like a transceiver, or the brain is more like a transceiver of consciousness, rather. And so if you destroy the radio, that doesn't necessarily mean that the signal disappears or it blinks out. So you have two models there. But
I could not understand how a consciousness could exist without a physical substrate. You would need.
Well, no. The point is that in either model, the substrate is still necessary. In other words, just like the radio is necessary to receive the signal for the radio.
Radio waves can go out into the world. Our
Yes.
consciousness cannot do that. It is stuck in the squishy pink stuff because it comes from our neurons.
We see that's the assumption. I think. I see if you assume that it's solely generated.
Neurologist.
If you assume that it's solely generated by the brain, then you're going to make the assumption that when you destroy the brain, then consciousness goes out. Whereas if you have the other model, where if that the brain is the junction box of consciousness, then just because you destroy the brain doesn't necessarily mean you destroy the signal of consciousness. And there's no way to, in neuroscience, there's no way to distinguish between those two. And a lot of atheists will bring up the example of like, well, if I damage the brain, I'm going to damage the personality of the person. It's going to drastically change someone's personality. Well, of course, if you damage the radio, it's going to drastically change how it receives that signal. So in both cases, you have the exact same thing.
You're not. I don't view it as broadcasting, and I don't view it as receiving. Everything is happening internally in your brain.
If it's all wouldn't that be an argument for solipsism if it's all solely being generated by the brain?
No, just because your stomach is digesting its food by itself internally, is that an argument for solipsism?
You can't defeat solipsism, but it's not an implicit argument
why
for
would
it.
that be? But what? Okay, help me out. Why would consciousness or digestion be an argument, just because it's happening inside the body, be an argument for solipsism?
Oh, well, I mean, I wasn't saying that the stomach digestion would be an argument for solipsism.
Yeah, but I put those. I'm trying to understand, why is consciousness special then? Why is it?
No, I'm saying that if you believe that the brain is solely responsible for the projection of consciousness, then you're kind of making an argument for solipsism. That the only thing that can be verified is your brain and your own consciousness.
We can use science to verify other things. We can know things. We are not the only brains. If you're going to ask me if I know that for 100% certainty, no. But I know that for 99.9% certainty, which is...
But you see, that's why I think...
It seems to be that way.
Yeah, that's why I think that argument comes up. Like James said, you can't definitively prove it. It's like if you have a room full of solipsists arguing over to which person has the true reality, you know, like...
They all do.
But that is not evidence that our brain is receiving data or giving data. I spent the whole week just looking and staring at different protocols. It's starting at the application layer and going down towards the physical layer, and then going back to the physical layer back into all the lovely TCP stuff. I'm going to choke in a second. Our brain doesn't seem to do that externally unless we type to each other or communicate to each other via words.
Okay, let me throw another curveball at you, if I may. Are you familiar with Einstein's block universe?
Block universe?
He had the notion, he didn't believe in free will. He had the notion that all that occurs within the universe is predetermined in a sense, so that if you posit for a moment that you have the singularity or the Big Bang, let's just say that for an example, that's just the way it happened. We have the Big Bang. And let's say you have another moment called the Big Crunch. And this is the supposed end of the universe where everything collapses back into the singularity.
That's one hypothesis.
Yes. And so at every single moment within that frame, you see, I'll put my camera on so I can try to give some so like you have the Big Bang and you have the Big Crunch. Every single moment in between is predetermined. So there's no area in the blocks.
I would agree with him.
You would agree with him?
It just sounds like determinism or a version of something.
I'm more of a determinist.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against any of it. I would just say, even if all of our choices have been determined since the Big Bang, it would not change how we functionally look at consciousness. To us, it's still us going out, making our choices, picking whether we wanted pizza over a burger, even though it was determined to happen 13.8 million years ago.
But still.
Yeah, well, in the block universe, there is what he called the present sense of time, where you think you're making a choice here or there, is an illusion, in that at every moment in the block is real from beginning to end, that there is no actual real point or vantage point from which reality could be discerned, where it's making changes, that it's all fixed across time. And so when mystics have a so-called complete mystical experience, you could almost say by analogy that what they experience is the entire block. So it's like it's a transformation of consciousness, where you're no longer identifying with the material body, but you identify with the entire block. So this is why mystics say all is one. So there's no separation between events.
I think it is a temporary destroyal of the feeling of self that you are feeling. I think that is a mechanism of our of consciousness to make it feel like we are this one thing, that we're right here directly behind, because that it would be very awkward if we had to be feeling like we were down here. It is almost by natural selection that it makes sense that
we have at least the illusion.
Feeling it right through here.
We have an illusion of free will at some level.
Yeah, also, I will say, because now we actually had a good time. We went double the time, but I'm going to, in about 2 or 3 minutes, Kathy, I'm going to ask you to wrap it up because we are wrapping up.
All right, cool. Well, if you haven't had that experience, Amy, I would say that you haven't had the phenomenon of ego death occur.
I have absolutely had that experience. I have had it where my only way I can explain it is like static. Static has filled my everything until there was nothing but the static. I've had the experience which is completely, I've had a whole bunch of weird experiences, different experiences.
You've also mentioned unconditional, infinite love.
I have unconditional love that to this day I cannot change. I love everyone. I have unconditional love for every human on Earth, every species on Earth. I will even try to walk over. I try not to kill. I try not to kill even insects.
Yeah.
And so I recommend. That's why I recommend these things. I still have an ego. I still am selfish, unfortunately. But I think that I have at least a better perspective on a lot of those. I have a little bit of a better meter on them. But I will say, however, actually, depending on the jobs, but always open for new experiences. But right. I will say, I don't think they will make me a theist.
Yeah, well, okay. Here's I'll leave you with this if I can. And one of the deepest philosophical topics you can get into with religion is referred to as non-dualism. And it refers to this collapse of the subject-object dichotomy. So you have the impression that you're a bodily entity roaming the environment, and that there's an objective field out there, external objects or an external world, universe, what have you. At the height of that phenomenon, those two fuse into one, where you can no longer, distinguish the bodily entity that you're contained in from the rest of the environment. It all becomes one. Like this analogy I use of your consciousness transforms into the block universe itself, and it is permeated with unconditional, infinite love. I felt that myself, and
that's some like David Icke shit.
It kind of is, but I really think David Icke probably took ayahuasca. That's why he got influenced.
He did.
That's why he's influenced to speak that way. And
I just wish people would translate into something secular or into something, because I've had good experiences. I think Joe Rogan, he's the one who pimps it as much as anything. He's an atheist, proudly so. But yeah, I'm sorry. It sounded like I was giving you an outro, basically. So I'll hand it right back over to you, Kat.
Well, I mean, I don't know if Joe Rogan's an atheist. He's had Richard Dawkins on.
Oh, he absolutely is an atheist. Oh, no.
Well, I'll tell you what. Me and you will go on Joe Rogan, and we'll ask him ourselves.
Okay. I'm pretty sure he does bits. He does I quote Joe Rogan. Do you want to know the difference between a religion and a cult? In a cult,
give me my charger, dude. It's going to die.
In a cult, the leader knows that he's full of shit. In a religion, that guy's dead.
What's over here?
And that's basically a direct quote from Joe Rogan. So, yeah, I think Rogan is it a shit. Oh, are you still here, Kathy? Oh no.
He was saying something was gonna. His phone might
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's okay. And I know Pseudonym was backstage. We were gonna get you in, Pseudonym, but we are gonna. And if unless you or someone like the Muslim apologist or someone who like absolutely disagrees with us jumps in, then we're probably gonna be wrapping it up. But it's been a fun show.
It certainly has been.
All right, I'm gonna.
Science getting a little sassy, but it's okay, Amy. You like the sass. You like when they get sassy, right?
I do. Honestly, oh, he came back. I like it. Oh.
I apologize. My laptop died real quick.
Welcome back. I'm giving you that 30 seconds back.
Okay. All right. So non-dualism, this collapse between the subject-object dichotomy, this sense of unity, this overwhelming sense of infinite unconditional love. I don't, you may say that why can't we secularize this? Isn't it strange? Like the commenter in your chat asks, why don't we see kind of a non-religious version of this? and you really don't. I mean, I think when people have these experiences, they start resonating with the experiences that people have had throughout religion. So like I was an atheist, and now I see kind of a harmony between the religions, and I see it as kind of what the neuroscience is doing. They also emphasize the perennial philosophy. What's so bad about attempting to harmonize the world's major religions and get them away from conflict and unifying them in harmony and love and unicity and so forth, instead of disdaining religion and being anti-theist and trying to rid the world of this faction of our history. And I see it more fruitful to in a world where this is harmonized. Maybe one day we can live without it and say, hey, we're human beings. We have the potential for this experience. We all can attain this. But in every aspect, I think the reason religion persists is because when people just try to describe these experiences, like you mentioned the Superman. I don't see God as a Superman any longer. When you think of like all powerful, are the attributes that we apply to God, like omniscience, all-knowingness, omnipotence. I see omnipotence as the very universe that we live in right now is the example of God's omnipotence. His omnipotence is what keeps every atom in place. I don't see it as a Superman like trying to do something here or there. I think the whole beauty of God's all powerfulness is to sustain the very existence of the universe itself, and the omniscience is the block. It's not that we exist in this one tiny slice of time. It's that every moment in all times and all places is already there. It's already complete. It's all contained within that block. It's all contained within that omniscience. And I think that's why the religious vocabulary speaks towards that and why it's developed. And I think it gets misconstrued along the way to mean a Superman that knows everything and can do anything and can make anything happen, like a genie.
I have a problem with some of the Omni. I was good at the very beginning, but then I'm not going to counter any of it though, because
You
we're
sound
going to
more
ask
like
it
a
if people are
pantheist.
wrong.
So yeah.
Well, I was looking up the perennial. It's saying basically that there is a single true fact that all religions share. Does that seem to be perennial philosophy?
It's one metaphysical truth that is shared among all the major world's religions. It's just called by various names. The Hindus call it Brahman. The Christians call it the Godhead. The Buddhists call it Nirvana or Sunyata, so on and so forth. But it's all referring to one metaphysical truth that is synonymous amongst them all. And that's how it's seen within the perennial philosophy. And I mean, you said you had a problem with the omnis up to a certain point. Which one?
Oh no, I was listening to what you were saying. Until you said the word, I don't think any of the omnis exist. They contradict each other, most of them.
They contradict each other if you think of God as a genie.
If you think of God as a mind. So
or like James said, he said pantheist. I think a more accurate term to relate to perennial philosophy would be panentheist. Because pantheist identifies what you see here and now as God, whereas the panentheist is like considering all past, all future. It's all contained. Therefore, you have it all encompassing inside the Godhead or the Brahman or whatever you want to call it.
Steven, even when you make fun of the term Sky Daddy, but then you use the word Godhead, which
well, Godhead is the way that Christian mystics refer to solely consciousness. They weren't referring to like a fatherly figure with a body, an anthropomorphic entity. If you look up the term Godhead, I think Meister Eckhart used it very often. But if you look at the term Godhead, it refers to like kind of the mind of God. Like we're all contained within the mind of God, or the way the Hindus would put it is that we're all like you're Amy, you're the universe pretending to be Amy.
I don't think that we are in the mind of God.
Well, when I was a Christian, we always used the term Godhead to describe the Trinity acting as one, all in concert, the Father, Son, and Spirit acting together in unison.
Yes. Well, I mean, the Trinity is a concept born out of mysticism. Like if you go to a mystic, he will tell you that the Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The Son is the conduit who receives insight to the Father. The Father not as an anthropomorphic being, but the mind of God, by means of the Holy Spirit, which is the mystical experience. And that's the way they interpret it. It's many people have many misconceptions, misinterpretations.
Well,
I think, it's a very convoluted concept if you don't consider mysticism. But the very notion of the Trinity is grounded in mysticism, and if you disregard mysticism, you will miss the entire point of the Trinity.
I mean, we could look at that another time. I don't know about that per se, but I think they got to the Trinity by having lots of different Bible verses, all saying things about God and trying to make them all true at the same time, and they came up with this hodgepodge of a deity that they created out of varying different passages. But I'm sure the mystics would add another layer of complexity to that, make it even more interesting.
Well, no, it was grounded by the early church fathers. It was introduced by them. The Trinity wasn't part of the scripture until they put it forth, and they were trying to ascertain the very nature of God. That's why you have the hypostasis. Was Jesus truly full man, or was he truly full God? And you have these arguments, but there's also kenosis, the emptying of the divine powers within Christ as to become man and to become obedient to death. And that means you cannot be full if you're in a meditative state where you're fully God and you're contemplating the entire block. There's nothing you can do in that state. There's you can't act within that state. You have to return to your bodily entity. You have to return to your egoic state in order to act from that wisdom that you gain from that experience, the memory. And so now you have this vision of infinite, complete love. And that's where I believe Jesus spoke and behaved from. He had mystical experience. He probably had several mystical experiences that would direct his step from henceforth. From that insight. And if you look into it, I mean, I would look into the hypostatic union. If you want to look into the Trinity in this aspect that I'm referring to, look into Christian mysticism, look into Theoria, Theoria. These are the rooted mysticism components within Christianity that
are you taking things out of like the Gnostic writings, like the Gnostic
the Gnostics too? Yeah, the Gnostics too. The Gnostics were engaging in mysticism. If you ask me, they were directly engaging in these mystical experiences, and you could find it prevalent throughout all the world's major religions. And it's now what our modern neuroscience is studying, and why more atheists are not, jumping on this bandwagon, I have no idea. But I'll await the day that Matt DeHunty goes on one of his shows and hits some DMT, and we wait to see what happens.
You gonna dose him up? Make sure he takes
I would
enough?
still bet he'd be an atheist.
Knock Matt DeHunty's socks off.
Yeah, I would love to dose him myself, but I don't know. I don't think he. I don't know if he's afraid of it. I don't know, because I think if he was really intrepid, he would have done it by now. But I mean, he manages somehow to stay away from it. It's not an easy thing to. Even when I do it today, I do it kind of annually. And when I take a heroic dose, I always try to go higher on the dose. My last dose was 13 dried grams. When I try to go higher, I never take it without a sense of fear. I'm afraid.
Is there such a thing as too high of a dose?
No. Well, if you look into psilocybin, the LD50 is for someone who weighs 140 pounds. You would have to literally eat about 3 pounds of dried psychedelic mushrooms to reach a fatal dose. What the heroic dose with Terence McKenna is talking about is within the 5 to 10 gram range. You got to remember there's 144 grams in 1 pound. So you're taking a dose very far away from what's considered a lethal dose.
Maybe not lethal, but maybe too much to be able to have a meaningful experience.
No, I mean, if you really wanted to hit the nail on the head, then go beyond 10, take 15, go
For
to
most
that.
people starting out, I'm going to say just try a little of all the
Yeah, you could try a little, but I didn't take time tippy-toeing. I dove right in, and I came out.
Nobody got time for that small dose.
Yeah, no one has time for microdoses. I think Terence McKenna said the only evil involved with taking psychedelics is taking too little. And
I do want to just
as a side
give some sort of caution. No, because you can scare the crap out of yourself. Like you can have really bad events too. And so that is why you should always go with a person. You should always go in with a good mindset and always and always consult doctors. But no, Kathy, 10 more seconds because I
was gonna say
past. Let me tell you, we were supposed to do 20 minutes. Remember?
I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Well, if you want to throw out precautions, I mean, I do study the negative factors in the research as well. They do have 30% of their volunteers on average that have very negative experiences, very bad, hellish trips where they experience a kind of literal psychological hell. And even from the pilot study back in 99, I believe, they have volunteers to this day are seeking psychiatric help from what happened to them during that event. So, it can be dangerous. It can be life-altering in a negative sense as well. But I think the benefits overweigh the negative effects. Otherwise, this research wouldn't continue today. And, they have had efficacy with drug addiction, depression, so on and so forth. Near people on the verge of death with cancer studies that are, at the final stage, they're able to accept death and have dinner with their family. It's no longer weighted on their mind, so on and so forth. But I did want to throw out that precaution. But I mean, if you think you're stable enough and you think you're ready, I don't see any reason why you couldn't do this under supervision and take a heroic dose and see what it's all about. And I'll leave it at that.
All right. Thank you, Kathy. It's good to have you on again.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Yep.
Woo-hoo. Thank you so very much, Kathy. Lovely having you on, and keep on coming on. And all right, I was debating whether I should have him on for this or not, but it's okay. I got prepared anyway.
He's ready.
We're on the edge of the desert, just outside of Jerusalem, when the Lord began to kick in. Jesus, that's Thompson. Huh? Good. Thank you so very much, the Sinister Porpoise, for all
extra
the love and support
today
that you do and give. That's right, extra sinister today. Mwah. And because I kind of just have to do.
There you go. Look what you did, Sinister.
So thank you so very much, and thank you so very much, Kathy, for coming on, and all of our panelists for coming on. In fact,
that's worth a heroic dose.
Indeed. James, do you have anything before we get out of here?
Is that what you asked?
Anything coming up?
Is that what you ask clients, Amy? If it's their first time, if they're ready
Yes.
for a heroic dose,
A heroic dose of this group
or
D.
yeah. Is that how you offer that to them? Yeah.
Very specifically, yes.
Thanks, Tim. Just a tip. $15 of mushroom. That's right, Reservoir Gore.
Okay, wanted to make sure I had all of our lovely panelists. If I ever forget your name, tell me and I'll give you a shout out sometime. And I am sending love to all of you out there. If you are a Patreon, a Twitch subscriber, or a channel member, then you are not only part of the Skeptic and Ranting community, but you get access to the Talk Skeptic to Be show, where we will create a show for you on your subject of choice, as long as we're able to get the expertise and experience out there.
He'll show up.
A heroic dose.
Plenty of water to drink.
What's that?
Lots of water. The water, Amy.
What I know, Rachel. Every time I says it, she says, "You want a glass of what?"
Water. Fish
Also,
live in the water.
Cat tax. Oh, Gizmo's I look good. Like when Gizmo's looking up, like, oh, I'm looking at you. Yes. Love you right back. I know that pseudonym wanted to come on, the Muslim apologist ultimated, but we actually had a pretty full house. And so I want to thank you all. I'll send out. Oh, that's right. If you would like to have your own show produced and be made by Jewish space lasers, same people, then you can head on over to my Fiverr and I'll start working with you. We'll have some fun. Instead of just your own show, you'll have
who I mentioned. Because when Kathy was talking, he sounded a lot like David Icke, who wrote a book like Infinite Love is All That Exists, Everything Else is Illusion, after he took ayahuasca. But he's the guy who came up with the Jewish space. He was like the first one to write a book about the reptilian Jewish.
It kills me because you could have very eye-opening experience. I'm not, I am as pro-psychedelic as someone mostly will be. Even I think that you should have precautions and safeties and all this stuff. But it is not a miracle cure for the mind. As in, like, if you're a douchebag, there is still a chance going out of it. You may still be a douchebag. I mean, it's a good chance to have someone go, oh, wow, maybe I wasn't viewing. I was treating Sarah terribly. Maybe I should treat Sarah better. I was treating Bob terribly. I should really treat Bob better. But, we can have all of that stuff without connecting it to the supernatural, I guess, is my big sell as well.
And we're going to keep doing that.
Hey, Nathius, will say, if you ever want to reach out to me, just tell me. Looking to produce more people.
Another spanking from Mother Nature. Kathy thinks you need another spanking from Mother Nature. A heroic dose. You need to just get knocked on your ass again.
Listen, I have never said no from drugs from strangers.
She's got a paddle.
Not that you are a stranger now, Kathy. You are my friend.
Probably has several paddles on premises. So,
James, I could literally walk out the door and grab a paddle.
I'm sure that you can. Yeah. Multiple, probably. Lots of pink fuzzy cups.
You don't even, yeah, definitely so. I think that's all the actual announcements. I'm gonna be doing lots of subtle changes. I'm cleaning up the Patreon down to like the core, what the people seem to be going, because we want to grow it. We really want to get over 200. I'll be talking about that at the end. We are doing more. I'm getting Skeptic Gaming. I'm going to send the Skeptic Gaming logo into the Patreon, so all the Patreons will be the first to see it, as well as the channel members. No, I know, Kathy, that you weren't invoking the supernatural. And I know that you are like an in-between or a liaison or whatever you want to call it. So I don't view you as in that. I would say after I found myself not stepping on bugs. Yes, I no longer step on bugs. Very, very specifically. I catch each and every bug because it took 4.5 billion years for them to get there. And it feels like an affront for me to actually end that journey just because they were in my way or because I did not do them.
If you can get to them before the cats do, because
yeah. Well, listen, I view if you eat another animal for food, I understand killing it. I actually think that's the most moral thing you could do if you do kill it.
Cats will hunt just to hunt. It's practice. So
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, murder practice for if they need to hunt.
Girl.
It's actually in their blood. It's in their instincts to do it.
It is, as well as to be adorable. Skeptic Gaming, and the logo came out awesome. So excited to show it. So I am looking forward to it. I think the first game we're going to be doing is Minecraft, and then I plan on doing other games. Because why not? Have some fun, maybe do some Civ, who knows? We're planning on doing more Debate Me Bras. I may be doing a Debate Me Bra myself, where James is going to be the moderator, and I'm going to be going up against Ultimated. So that'll be fun.
You want to do it as we each have a crack at Ultimated?
Oh, yeah, that's true. He does kind of challenging. Look at me being all throwing myself. He did kind of challenge both of us. Yeah, either way. We could do maybe one or the other. Maybe I'll go or you go, and then either you go and then I'll go. I'm going to cough again. I thought it was just a cannabis thing. I had a wicked cold on Sunday. When I sounded really bad last episode, it was the beginning and the end of, I think a really bad cold. More cats. So it's just a scratching. Come on. 1 potato, 2 potato. You gonna take the chair?
I mean, you've been doing a lot with the your new job.
I know, which is crazy. I have been teaching all over the place now, online, in person, indeed. But you know what? It is truly amazing. I would not trade it now for anything. I'm starting to fall in love with it, just like I fell in love with Abcdeig. You want this one or this one? No, you actually chose that chair that time. Oh my goodness! I'm petting Moonlight over here. Oh,
Good morning, Moonlight.
Yeah.
5 a.m.
Is it 5 a.m.? Oh, no wonder she woke us. She's like, just woke up because she's like, yeah, it's almost morning. Trying to think if there was anything else. There's probably more stuff. I want to do. I'll post more. Expect more clips and shorts. I tried. There should have been more clips in the past few days, but some of the clips were sound issue. I couldn't clear up one sound issue on a monologue, and so I'm just like, I'm just going to end up showing James's. I forget what it was. But, yeah. I should never ban the use of APIs. Libraries and class. I think that's about it. All right. I will. Oh, I wanted to pin this. I'll say it early.
That's right, Tim.
Reinventing the wheel keeps professors. Hey, and I have fallen in love with it. I'll be honest with you. I love that it's truly my own class. Like, you have to teach the content, but I could do whatever I want. If you have a video that you want to show, just put it up there. If you have a book that you like instead of the other book, just toss it out. None of the state mandated things. Though I will say, I like the K through 12 education system is interesting. It has been fun also learning that. It does feel like you make a difference. It can actually be just as exhausting or more exhausting, but they're both fun. Teaching, everybody. You should do it. Alrighty then. I may do an impromptu debate you in the upcoming days. I'll try and drag James along if he's got time. And I think that's it. I hope you all had a good time on this episode of Call Me Skeptical. Call Us Skeptical, the Abrahamic God, where we opened up the internet phone lines to ask the question, why would anyone believe in the Abrahamic God? For a good time, thousands of years in the making, 6 to 10 apparently. Though I do want to thank, it just seems so random. I know Bishop Usher and sat there and just counted some of the characters.
Yeah, added them up, Amy. I mean, come on. What more can you want? Carbon dating? I mean,
yeah.
Not
I just
very
love
accurate.
that they take pot shots out of such well-known, well-established sciences. It just
and then they'll go with the guy adding up dates in an ancient book of fables. That's reliable.
The talking snake, James.
That's
a real
reliable.
talking snake.
It's a literal history of the world.
Basically. That and Shrek. Very specifically. I want to thank my co-host James W. along with our guest, ding, sending love to Peter. I can now not hear the bells in the back of my head.
It finally was dinging stuff.
Yes, please.
It went on for months.
Stop. Along with our guest, Sea Science, Beamsy, Based, Mark, and Kathy. I feel like I'm missing someone. If I did, I'm so sorry.
Disciple.
I love you. If I did, Disciple Day, Chris, thank you. I was writing it down post. Thank you so very much, Disciple Day.
Thanks, guys.
Chris, and the entire Skeptic and Ranting community. Along with the people in chat, our awesome mods who make the stream so fantastic, and of course, lovely viewers like you who make this channel even possible. Please don't forget, if you enjoy the show, to like, because by hitting that like button, it tells YouTube, hey, people who like atheist or theist content, let's send it out there. I like it.
Tim, don't be mean to the mods.
I'm not gonna look at chat. I love you all, and he scratches to get it. He scratches, but they don't think, James. They don't think, these other animals. They can't actually. So when he's telling me to go out, he's actually, I don't know. We haven't talked about that in a while. Sending love to Scott Duke. Sending love to Speed of Sound. Just, it annoys me when the creationists look down on other animals.
Bothers me. All the time.
They were granted lord and dominion over them. Literally, like...
No, finish.
No, they view themselves as gods. They spent all this time calling us gods, and then they treat the planet like shit, and they treat the animals like shit.
What was it? Phrase he posted. He posted a thing about this guy got an anti-evolution article through peer review in like 2012, but it was he's a medical doctor, and it's in a medical journal. It's like, what the fuck does that have to do with evolution? Why was it even in there? It's not a biology, it's a medical journal. But that's all that they have. People speaking outside of their fields. People
That's what they do. They get a biologist when they're talking about physics, or a physicist when they're talking about biology, or a degree from University of Basement. Sending. You should all go check out the documentary that was posted on both Oz's channel, Sending Love to the Flavor, Tang Gang. You should all check that out, as well as the Rage's channel, Nox channel at The Raging Atheist.
The documentary?
They're both the same. Yes, a documentary called The Rise and Fall of Justin Downing.
Oh, wow.
So you should all check that out. It's about half of it is about the documentary. His name was Taylor.
Okay. Oh, is that no? Not Snake was right.
I don't know. Wasn't Snake was right?
Somebody else.
But half of it is the documentary, and then the half is the commentary at the end. But the commentary at the end is good too. But you should go watch the documentary. It's up on both.
He's that guy who's going to spend the next 12 years in the state of Ohio State Hotel.
Yeah. Making license plates and with his new boyfriend, Bubba. Says, hey now, all my computer science and math classes are literally in the basement of one of the university. Listen, that is because the servers are probably down there because it's cold as in the basement. But you're okay. You're right, though. It's a great place to have some blades. Yeah, I think that's about all that I can think of. As we tell you to, what were we doing? We were subscribing and, subscribe if you would like. We're moving on up. And it's all because of you guys, gals, and everything in between. And so thank you for that. Once again, that just triggers people. But
oh, it certainly does.
Like, literally, it baffles me sometimes at how much it triggers them, too. Like, it's a veracity that is like, dude, I don't even care about it as much as you do. Like, it's
like when certain manatee wakes up in the morning, what does he just think about all these trannies? I mean, it really triggers him, and he's claims not even to be Christian anymore.
I don't understand where this vitriol comes from. Like,
I mean, is that the first thing you think about in the morning?
I actually do know where it comes from. Is that I've seen at least articles that have said they like these fundies. They're political think tanks. They're like, we threw everything at the fucking wall and nothing stuck as strong as transgenders, and so we're like, just gonna run with it. And so they've now been pushing out as many anti-stories as they can. And so now they're popular. There's been this, I don't know what it is. With beer cans, and it's the dumbest thing. They don't have
anything. And yeah, like you said, they've thrown so many things up against the wall and none of it sticks for very long. And then they end up moving on. But this one, they're going to get their money's worth out of this.
Oh, yeah.
For a while, and then it'll go away.
It's exactly. What's annoying is they make it also part of the narrative is that I have to be. I'm obsessed with identity politics. Do you understand? That's all I can think about. And so it's just every time something comes up on the news, I'm like, and it's like, it's like some sort of, I don't know, angry about something. I'm like, please not training. Please not training. Please not training.
Yeah.
But they, like you said, they're going to get their money's worth. Or, hey, why not?
And they'll lose that battle eventually, too, just like they lose every other battle.
No, it is a losing battle. As far as I can tell, now the cat. Did you really? Are you the same cat? You went in now too? Yes, you are.
No,
In. What you doing?
I'm a different cat. You've got cats, Amy, like Creflo Dollar's got Rolls Royces.
Well, could have been Penelope. Penelope sometimes likes to come in too, and Buttercup is tucked away right up here. But you're right. I may have gone caterpillars, but they're so cute. Oh, he likes his head rubs. And okay, yes. Well, as far as Gizmo, as far as I can tell, the big push for transgenders was transgenders in the military. Like, we already got the thing we wanted. Like, it was gays being married and trans in the military. And so what they're doing now is they're looking for, like, really arbitrary things that, like, I would have...
Sports.
Do you think I would have known about Drag Queen Story Hour unless they brought it up? You think I would have, in my wildest dreams,
No.
I would have never. And so, like, after doing as much research as I have now, I know that it's harmless and that it's about teaching kids basically how to be friends and treat everyone equal. But it is like, it is so annoying because what happens is they're like, look at this thing. Why are you so obsessed with this thing? And I'm like, all right, show it to me so I can learn what it is. That is what it's like every time now. All of these fucking proxy wars. Yes.
Well, they just get so,
Proxy
it's
issue
just
for
that they get
cowards.
so triggered by it. It's, yeah.
Exactly. But it's made to trigger. It's made to trigger, but whatever.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Yeah, or hey. Why? Oh,
Hey.
bell icon. Hit that bell icon. Boop. To all, you'll see our premieres or join our live streams. Like all the lovely people in chat, who I'll also say goodbye to at the end video, and or the credits, as some people would call them in the industry. Hey, why not leave a comment once the video's done? Hey. Or you can also leave a super thanks, which is like a super chat, and we'll interact with it. We'll send you all the love and support and thanks. After the show, the Skeptic and Ranting Discord server will be opening up. It is probably going to be almost 6 a.m. here. We can do it. Our body is ready.
Almost.
The link of which is in the description below. Lastly, if you would like to help us make even more content, well, then we have both channel membership, we have Twitch subscribers, but we have the best way to help us as well is at patreon.com/Amy Newman. I am Amy Newman, and we will see you all on the next episode of Skeptic.
Good night, y'all.
Ball Z. Good night. Mwah.
bensound.com.
Damn it, how did I not change that?
What the fuck was that?
bensound.com. bensound.com. bensound.com.
Go check out Ben Sound. They're awesome. He's
They
a
heard
good
it.
guy.